David Wilcock is lying again. Decades of fakery he can't defend. David Wilcock is lying again, but karma always has its revenge. Fake insiders and secret space lies, fake bullshitters I try to disguise, fake stories I sell to the weak, fake stories I just repeat. David Wilcock is lying again. Decades of fakery he can't defend. David Wilcock is lying again, but karma always has its revenge. Fake stories, that's all I got. Fake stories, I hope you forgot. Fake stories, my history of lies. Fake stories, open your eyes. David Wilcock is lying again. Decades of fakery he can't defend. David Wilcock is lying again, but karma always has its revenge. Fake stories, my history of lies. Fake stories, open your eyes. Fake stories, my history of lies. Fake stories, open your eyes. My history of lies. Fake stories, always open your eyes. David Wilcock is lying again. Decades of fake lie he can't defend. David Wilcock is lying again, but karma always has its revenge.
Valley's been a ghost ship, 20 years of empty claims, with hangars full of garbage and dreams that never came. Now he's fishing for new suckers to store more junk inside, while promising his gullible fans hover cars and free energy rides.
We are working on anti-gravity. As soon as we get financed, which again is coming very soon.
Divine insights were handed down, but now they cost a fee. In the wacky world of Wilcock, that's the way it's gotta be. Financial resets, debts erased, a world so fair and bright. The alliance never came, and neither did his wife. The wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. Just buy my course, $300. Enlightenment's the deal. In the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. Extraterrestrial pals, they're coming here to stay. Disclosure's always just around, but aliens delay. Law of one, the Bible, Bhagavad Gita, all mixed up in one. David's stealing from the best, but his fans think it's a brand new one. Plagiarizing profit, that's his favorite routine. In the wacky world of Wilcock, where nonsense reigns supreme, we'll all get rainbow bodies, whatever that might mean. And Jesus is an alien, the wildest thing you've seen. David's on a hero's journey through dimensions far and wide. Draco reptilians know where he lives, so in his mansion he must hide. Catastrophes and end times, we're on the brink, he said. But my coffee's brewing nicely, and I'm still in my bed. The wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. Just buy my course, $300. Enlightenment's the deal. In the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. No one's suffering like David in his mansion grand and tall, with bison, steak, and chicken. He's the loneliest of all. His teeth are fake as his prophecies, and courses that he sells. In the wacky world of Wilcock, he's ringing all the bells.
If we bathe in our own urine, we can gain superpowers. Doing the bath does help. Or you urinate before you get into the bathtub, and then you drink new water out of a glass, and when you're in the bathtub, you can do a little more.
Buy my course, $300. Enlightenment's the deal. In the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. His PowerPoint slides are packed with schizophrenic rants, forced to stream on YouTube now. Bankruptcy's a stance. Stavati aerospace, a Ponzi scheme they say. So pay pigs better pay up, or like Corey Good he'll stay. So many dates, so many dreams, none of them come true. But hey, don't fret, just buy the course and I'll enlighten you.
For God's sake, take the deal, okay? But you have to take the deal and you have to cooperate. Rise, rise, rise. And you feel yourself, kinetic energy of levitation, tingling across your skin.
In 2012, we all ascend, a cosmic shift was due. But here we are in 24, and nothing much is new. Mass arrests and cover busts, beliefs should quake in fear, yet they're still here, sipping wine. And we're all stuck right here, in a world of Greer and Good, Crush and Lou. With their claims, nobody tops David Wilcock, with his fringe and wacky games, while they're sharing UFOs and theories kinda tame. David's got aliens who wanna sleep with him and eat him, what a shame. He's the master of the bizarre, with rainbow bodies on display. In the wacky world of Wilcock, where nonsense leads the way. So here's to Dave, the shyster bold, with tales so far-fetched and grand. In his world of make-believe, where fantasy's second-hand, he spins his fairy tales and lies between his YouTube streams, for his cat crystal ladies who gobble up his dreams.
Stop lying and say my name. Say my name, say my name, say my name. You're not even trying to win this game. Say my name, say my name, say my name. Stop lying and say my name. Say my name, say my name, say my name. Our every battle you somehow lose. False accusations you cannot prove. Already lost before the war begins. Too proud to admit your sin. Stop lying and say my name. Say my name, say my name, say my name. You're not even trying to win this game. Say my name, say my name, say my name. Stop lying and say my name. Say my name, say my name, say my name. Your dirty secrets you try to keep, we expose them all, and with receipts. Count up the cost of fighting this war. Truth seekers rising to settle the score. Stop lying and say my name. Say my name, say my name, say my name. You're not even trying to win this game. Say my name, say my name, say my name. Stop lying and say my name. Say my name, say my name, say my name.
He looks like me, he's got my wavy hair, and he's a major character throughout the movie. So the David fetish in Hollywood goes on.
Aren't you finished painting that yet? There's There's a pile up a mile wide behind you. What's eating you, boy?
Were making fun of me because I had special abilities in this ultimate personality that they created. I had telekinesis.
What?
I don't mean to alarm you.
No, well, if that's all. What? Do you mind telling me what you do want to do?
This was the first time I've been able to get the 3D printer to make one of these. Now, wait a minute, David. That looks kind of evil. That looks like the devil's pitchfork. What the hell are y'all doing here?
Good grief!
I am sorry. But when you start finding out that people made you into a banana sandwich, and you start remembering those things,
That sounded terrible. You'll never fit in. Now you come to health practice and learn how to wiggle your ears and chuckle warmly and go he.
Dark corners of the night, secrets hidden from the light. Whispers turn to screams, shattering all your dreams. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Shadows try to hide, no place for them to bide. Light will pierce you through, reveal what is true. Running from your fears, can't escape the sears. Truth will hunt you down, tear apart your crown. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and happy weekend to you. We are here on a Saturday night because I suddenly realized that we didn't catch up with David Wilcock's last batch of lies last Sunday, and tomorrow apparently he'll be streaming again. So we don't want to get too far behind. There are some interesting developments on our last broadcast about the wacky world of Wilcock. We let you know. Or David Wilcock let us all know that that lawsuit with Stavati Aerospace is totally not a problem because they're going to settle. And that's not the case. And we have the proof of that now. So once again, we've caught David Wilcock lying to 500,000 subscribers. It's kind of funny, but it's become like a hobby of mine. Like, let's see how many times I can catch this guy lying to 500,000 people. And, the threats are continuing. He's calling me a terrorist and an extortionist now, but he still won't say my name. But, I turned that into art. So I've made several songs here called Say My Name. If you're going to accuse me of being a Satan-worshiping child predator, a terrorist, an extortionist, and all these other things, at least say my name. What? I don't know what kind of place he grew up in, but I think it was one of those rich boy towns or something, right? and his parents were very, affluent. Where I'm from, you don't accuse somebody of something sideways. And he thinks that this will somehow absolve him from any responsibility. As long as he just says Steven and not my full name, everybody knows that you're talking about me. You clearly identified me in that one stream that you did, David Wilcock. So what's the deal? If you're going to accuse me of these things, say my name. Say it. But I know what it is. He can't say it because then what's left of his dwindling following of idiot, stupid people may come over here and look at all the receipts that we have. Because unlike David Wilcock, when I make statements about statements of fact, we have facts and evidence to back up those things as statements of fact. Like when I tell you that the Dmitriev versus Stavati Aerospace lawsuit, that's the lawsuit in which a former investor of theirs is suing them and calling them a Ponzi scheme and investment scam. When I tell you that that's not being settled, it's because we have the court documents that prove it's not being settled. So, David Wilcock, you once again lied to 500,000 people. We want to take a moment to thank Welcome to the Show for a kind and generous super sticker. And I've seen in the live chat many people congratulating us. We have hit the milestone of 15,000 subscribers, and we did it honestly and morally and ethically, which I'm very, very proud of. And thank you all for the well wishes. Next stop is, I suppose, 25,000, right? Yo, killer new song, Steve. This show is going to rock, says Detective with one for the goal. And thank you, Welcome to the Show, which I think one for the goal. We have an ambitious goal tonight, and I'll tell you why in a moment. And thank you, Jack Dittman. I almost called him Dick Man. That would have been bad. Jack Dittman with a kind and generous $5 Australia says, finally here for the start of the stream. This will be perfect listening while I get ready to cook for people. Thank you for your hard work, mate. Well, another one for the goal. Thank you, Jack Dittman. And for those unaware, we read every single super chat. We've got a goal tonight of 50 super chats. Railroad Bum with a kind and generous $2 super chat says, congrats on the 15,000 subs. You are in fuego. You are en fuego, Stephen. I don't speak Spanish, so somebody's going to have to translate. I'm sure that's well wishes, though, from Railroad Bum. Thank you for your kindness. One for the goal. Detective with a kind and generous $5. Don't take a shot every time Wilcock lies. It won't end well for you or your stomach. Yeah, we joked about playing the David Wilcock drinking game, like watching his stream with a big bottle of Jack Daniels, and you take a shot every time you're sure he lied. You would die of alcohol poisoning 25 minutes in, Detective. That's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. Thank you all for the kindness, generosity, and support. Now, about the goal tonight, I've decided that I have to collect some more money. And here's the reason. I have one PC that's really good. I have one PC that's, I don't know, what is it? It's but it's older even. It's a Hewlett-Packard ZPC workstation with a Xeon processor and a good video card. And that is the only PC that I have, which is really good enough to stream with these bells and whistles that I keep adding. You guys may not remember, but maybe as little as 4 or 5 months ago, maybe, we didn't have all these animated backgrounds and frames and things. I've been slowly figuring this stuff out, and the animated graphics and logos. I've been slowly figuring this stuff out and adding this to the show. And I hate to take a step back. So what happened is the main PC took a dump. And, I have a background in computer science. I used to work in IT. It was the craziest thing. I've never seen anything like this. Essentially, the computer refused to start the services that would allow you to connect to the internet. And I have an administrator account. I'm trying to restart them. I'm trying to reset them to start automatically at launch. I'm using PowerShell. Everything I know how to do, couldn't get the thing to connect to the internet. Otherwise, the computer was perfectly fine and all the apps were fine. Long story short, in a situation like this, if you've ever worked in IT, anybody in my audience who's worked in IT will agree with me 100%. There's two keys to fixing computers: turn it off and turn it back on, or just reinstall Windows. So I had to reinstall Windows. But that took me several days to get to that. I had to go digging for the thumbnail with Windows, and then this PC is very challenging because it has a special RAID driver. You can't just take the Windows boot and install Windows. It won't see the hard drives. So it's a little more complicated. Anyway, I found the thumb drive, but in the meantime, I was on one of my beater PCs, which was dying trying to do all of this stuff. It didn't occur to me to like, oh, just do simple backgrounds and stuff because this computer doesn't have a good GPU. It can't handle all this stuff. It didn't occur to me, and we had some streaming problems, which I totally apologize for. Oh, look at that. We've got Railroad Bum. You're on fire lately, my friend. One for the goal. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And I'm so happy to see Fat Chick Thriller here. Truth Seekers, you're going to get tired of winning. You're going to say, Steve, stop. We can only win so much, but we're going to keep winning. Well, thank you for that. And I don't know if you know this, Fat Chick Thriller, but I have a saying, and it's really a philosophy of life, and that is, I always win. I remember being in bands, right? And people would quit. I always made it a point. Like if the drummer quits, get a better one, right? If the and like other things in life, like if your girlfriend dumps you, get a hotter one. Just always win. I always win. Sparky is here and gifted 5 Truth Seekers memberships. Very, very kind of you. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And for those unaware, you should smash that subscribe button because when kind and generous users like Sparky here gifts Truth Seekers memberships, those free memberships get distributed randomly to people in the live chat, but you must be a subscriber and not yet a YouTube channel member. And because of the kindness of Sparky, we've got Marvelous Marvin got a free membership. Knuckles 262868 got a free membership. Chris Johansson, happy to see that. Longtime show supporter, got a free membership. JB Palmer 262867 got a free membership. And Robert C got a free membership. So very kind of you, Sparky. And if you got a free membership, be sure to thank Sparky for giving that to you. So, my point with the goal is, yeah, I'm going to have to praise the cache a lot harder because, things happen, computers break. And if this thing, I reinstalled Windows, I think everything's good. I still have a lot of apps to install. I always hate that when this happens because it takes me like a week or two. And then like earlier today, I go, oh, I got to make a thumbnail. Oh, I don't have any graphics software on this computer yet. And, like Windows 10 Paint isn't going to cut it. So got to install that to do the thumbnail. Anyway, we're going to be praising the cache pretty hard because I've decided that. And by the way, I only have a NVIDIA 1080 in this GPU. This is not like super new gaming PC workstation here, but I do all the editing for the show on it. And by the way, those few days it was down, I had to render some videos, and oh my God, it was terrible. It was horrible waiting for some of these old workstations that I have to render video. So anyway, we're praising the cache because I'm going to dedicate some of the funds coming in here to get a new main rig, which would mean if this thing goes down, we have a backup. And of course, that's, I don't know. I'm looking into a Xeon system that has like a 4060 or 4070. I don't remember. NVIDIA card in it and like a few terabytes of storage and NVMe and, SSD and whatever. But it's like $1,000. So, big ask. But we have kind and generous people that always help the show. I'm concerned that this thing will take a dump again, and then I'll be stuck with, I want to win. I want to always win. And if this computer dies again and I got to go back to non-animated backgrounds and boring, static backgrounds, it'll feel like a loss. Thank you, Fat Chick Thriller. Secret Space Cyborg Wackadoo. Oh, we know we are praising the cache tonight. Yeah, we got to get to the goal. And P18 with a kind and generous $5. Helping to praise the cache. Let's effing go, chat. Let's hit that goal. Yes, so we're going to praise the cache. I'm gonna, and by the way, anybody that knows me knows that I get by with what I call OPT, other people's trash. I'm that guy in everybody's family that fixes everybody's computer, upgrades their computer, gets them a new one, sets it up for them. I help people like get back to their email and whatever. So I routinely will take old computers from people, and that's what I use. I almost never buy a computer. Never, never. My wife makes fun of me because I've got basically I've got a computer graveyard here, and I do like vintage and old computers. I still have some 8-bit computers. I've got a Windows 98 PC right over here, and I have a lot of fun with it. I still use it, but anyway, I never buy a new computer, never. But I'm gonna reward myself and say, like, if I'm gonna spend 12 hours editing, some of that time is waiting for a render or compositing or special effects to render before you do the next layer. And like, I should have a better computer. And I'm sorry I've been lazy about taking care of that. Farty McFly with a kind and generous $1.99. I get a fat girl for the night when I get dumped. Well, what's that? Andrew Dice Clay. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Remember Andrew Dice Clay's thoughts on that? Anybody can bang a hot one. It takes a real man to bang a big girl, right? And what did he call? He used to call it going Hagen. Farty McFly. I'm gonna get in trouble here. Thank you for your kindness, though. Another one for the goal. Old Nosy with a kind and generous $5. More praise be the monies. Thank you very much for your kindness. Another one for the goal. And Archduke Instinct, very, very kind. Stand up, be counting. We got to get Steven an RTX 5090. Oh, that'd be nice. Praise the RTX 5090. God bless the RTX 5090. And you know what is funny? I on my Twitter, I joked about begging for a I actually joked about that Archduke Instinct, and people were like, put it up as a show goal. But I feel uncomfortable with that kind of stuff. So I make a joke of it. That we've got some funds coming in here. We just need, like $1,000, and that problem is solved. Where did I put it? I don't remember. So anyway, I was joking about begging for a GPU because I didn't know that you could actually miss a GPU so badly until this thing went down, and then I was stuck. I think this other workstation just has like Intel onboard graphics or something. Oh boy, it was bad. It was really bad. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Here, I'll share my screen because this is kind of funny. And then we'll get to the Wilcock clips. Don't worry, we're getting to the Wilcock slop. Thank you, Archduke Instinct. One for the goal. I'm very, very generous of you. And here we go. Mike Larry gifted 5 True Seekers memberships. Very, very kind of Mike Larry. And like I said, smash that subscribe button because when people that are very generous and big show supporters like Mike Larry, who's the MVP of gifting True Seekers memberships, I don't know, he's gifted hundreds of memberships in the past year, probably. When he does that, if you're a subscriber but not yet a YouTube channel member, you may be eligible to win one of those gifted memberships, like Ryan, who won one, OG Houston won one, T-Light won one, Matt Gagare won one, and Zombie Licorice won a membership. Thank you for your kindness. And we've got Toad McSwole. Just buy yourself a med bed. If they can cure cancer, surely they can render videos for your channel. Yeah, I mean, we'll just buy a med bed. That sounds like good. Fat Chick Thriller, stand up, be counted. Go hogging. Yes. Nemesis Bex says, praise the cash with a kind and generous £5. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And Old Nosy just became a YouTube channel member. For those unaware, you can hit that join button. And if you join as a member during live broadcasts, we give you a big thank you and a shout out. So thank you, Old Nosy, for your kindness. Welcome to being a True Seekers member. And thank you so much for your support. All right, 1 second here. Old Nosy wants to make this the best night of my life. Well, money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure buys gear, and that's almost just as good, right? I used to joke and say money can't buy happiness, but it can buy guitars, and that's close enough. And it can buy synthesizers and drum machines and studio toys. Fat Chick Thriller, Steve, have you tried just selling the copper in your walls? Stop being so cheap. Yeah, I'm sure my wife would like that. Like, listen, honey, I know the bathrooms don't work, but I got a new gaming PC to edit videos with, so we're good. Right. And by the way, actually, I have a lot of work. She's got her own bathroom in her bedroom. Notice I said her bedroom, not our bedroom. Anyway, the master suite has some problems with the bathroom that I got to get to. But thank you, Fat Chick Thriller, for your kindness, generosity, and support. Big show support from Fat Chick Thriller. Always happy to see those dono bombs. When I see Fat Chick Thriller, I know I'm going to have a good night. Captain Dono Bomb. So yeah, we're trying to praise the cash and get to a magic number. It's not easy to just have an extra $1,000 laying around being a working father, and there's all this other stuff. I've been saving most of the money that I can to get a 4-wheel drive vehicle for the cabin, which I've needed for 4 or 5 years now. But hopefully that's going to happen in the spring. So if it wasn't for that, I would just buy the damn computer. But things always get in the way. All right, so first thing we're gonna get to is, oh wait, I was gonna share oh yeah. So we're begging for I'm sure that some of my detractors will say I'm begging for Old Nosy says, just defraud some moronic investors and say you're building survival bunkers and UFOs in Syria. Good job, good idea. Thank you, Old Nosy, for your kindness, generosity, and support. I was going to share this, and the reason I'm sharing this is because I'm sure that some of my detractors are going to, try to use this. Oh, he's begging for a GPU. Yeah, one GPU, please. Can we get one GPU? A good one, right? I got to render whole documentaries in the next 6 months. I've been slowly working on this Bob Lazar thing, and GPUs ain't cheap, right? So one GPU, please. And I joked about missing my GPU in this post. It's terrible. I'm just happy that I was able to get it fixed. So, I think we're okay, but the reason I'm going to buy another computer is because I'm nervous. This could happen again. And I can't go back to like super static backgrounds. I mean, I could, but it's boring and it feels like losing, right? And no telling, if there's an emergency or whatever, and I just don't have the funds for a new computer for months on end. I don't want the show to suffer. So one GPU, please. I appreciate your kindness, generosity, and support. So we're going to get to the proof that David. Imagine this: we have proof that David Wilcock is lying again. In his recent stream, I don't think it was last week, it might have been the week before that, David Wilcock claimed that the lawsuit against Stavati was being settled. But John Christian Spadavaccia is here with receipts. And this says, Stavati News. Based on the joint statement that Dimitrov filed with the court previously, the judge has ordered that Brian Colvin's admissions are now deemed admitted. The judge also ordered his deposition on or before March 7th. He may be deposed virtually. And this is from Court Listener. So that means that when David Wilcock was telling his followers that the lawsuit's getting settled, he lied. He lied to 500,000 people. Congratulations, David Wilcock, you genius of the millennium. You just got caught lying to 500,000 people. The lawsuit's not being settled. You're not getting an apology for. He said that this guy who sued them is going to give them an apology letter. And quite honestly, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if David Wilcock is just lying to his audience, or if Stavati Aerospace is lying to David Wilcock, saying, "Oh, that suit's not a big deal." And of course, he also lied, claiming that the suit was inspired by me and Stephen from Canada posting that Stavati Aerospace is some kind of a scam. I never posted that. Not that I recall, but and then things are getting interesting because, don't do that, Old Novi. The stream just crashed. Oh no, it was just me. Don't do that to a live show host. Fat Chick Thriller, pay up, piggies. Steve needs a new GPU to win. Yeah, don't you want me to win? Modulus, thank you, Fat Chick Thriller. Modulus version VJ4. David is spending the night willing Moorcock. Oh, geez. And Caustic Maine, do you believe in aliens less because of the UFO grifters? I was Mulder for a long time and always disappointed in the truth until I saw UAP and Celio. I would you know that saying, I want to believe. I feel like I used to believe. I used to be all chips in. You could not convince me that it all wasn't real and the government wasn't hiding the aliens. But the grifters, yeah, they kind of ruined it for me. But thank you for your kindness. Detective Steve is up front with what he would use the money for. Meanwhile, the grifters lie and promise cars and psychic powers. Base, Steve. Yeah, well, thank you. And we have Chand Malik with a kind and generous $2 Canadian who says 20. I'm not sure what that means, but you can explain that to me. But thank you for your kindness. There's one for the goal. And I'm just going to check in with the goal. We're at 25 and 50 already. Very, very generous of you. Thank you all for your kindness. So, that's interesting. Anyway, we're going to get to the clips now. And for those unaware, I've been a little bit behind, but then somebody told me that, like, from a psychology standpoint, it's a good idea for me to do my streams the night before David Wilcock does his new stream, because I'm sure he's watching. Hi, David. Hi. I'm going to prove that you lie constantly. Again, more. But before we get, we'll get to the clips. I have something to share that's funny. All right, I got it. All right. So, for those unaware, David Wilcock has been claiming for many months, and he's made many claims to this effect, that he's going to sue me. So, what he doesn't know is that I have a lawyer, very close friend of my family, that is a lawyer. And so I went and I had a long conversation, and I gave this lawyer all of the clips of David Wilcock claiming I'm a Satan worshiper, I'm a child predator, I'm an extortionist terrorist, and all of these things. And when he was done laughing, he told me that I don't have to worry about this because of SLAPP laws, and there is something called the UEP. What is it called? The Uniform Public Expression Protection Act, UPEPA. It's Pennsylvania Law 42 PACS 8301 8305. So I'm just putting this on the record. If David Wilcock is dumb enough to pay a lawyer $10, $20, $30,000 to file a frivolous lawsuit against me, I would laugh, because almost all of these lawsuits of the type that he is attempting or claiming he's going to make against me are instantly dismissed because of where I live in the state. There's this very powerful law called the Uniform Public Expression Protection Act. In other words, you can't sue somebody into silence in my state. So we've already got the motion to dismiss written, should David Wilcock be dumb enough to waste all that money. I'm told that 99.99999% of these type of cases in Pennsylvania get instantly dismissed as long as you have this type of motion to dismiss. So this says, defendant's motion to dismiss pursuant to the Uniform Public Expression Protection Act comes now, Stephen Cambion, by and through undersigned counsel, and respectfully moves this court to dismiss the above captioned lawsuit pursuant to the Uniform Public Expression Protection Act, and in support thereof, as follows. This lawsuit is a classic example of a strategic lawsuit against public participation, or SLAPP, designed to burden the defendant with litigation costs and chill constitutionally protected speech. See, that's what David Wilcock wants. He thinks that he should be able to grift all he wants and lie to people, and nobody's allowed to comment on that on the internet. This is not so. I have a constitutionally protected free speech. And also, the comedic parodies that we do, making fun of David Wilcock, are constitutionally protected free speech. The federal and the state laws about comedic parodies are very, very clear. You could try to sue somebody for making a comedic parody, making fun of you. Good luck with that. Anyway, this dismissal, I think it's funny. He hasn't actually sued me, but I've already got my legal defense. We're ready to go. So, I've been saying this shit or get off the pot, Wilcock. And by the way, just to be clear, if he was to do something so stupid and so reckless, I will file a countersuit and I will win. Plaintiff filed this action on, I didn't put the date in yet because I don't have it, alleging, I didn't put the claims in yet because we don't have that yet. The statements at issue were made in connection with a matter of public concern, specifically regarding journalism, consumer protection, or a matter affecting the community. I'm just warning the community that David Wilcock is a liar and that he sells fake stories with fake government insiders and has been involved in a lot of shady stuff, like his company being sued by previous investors, like his company being sued by all the creditors for hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid bills. I'm allowed to talk about that, David Wilcock. This says 3, defendant's speech is protected under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and Article 1, Section 7 of the Pennsylvania Constitution. Plaintiffs' claims fail on their face and lack sufficient basis in law or fact. In legal standard, the UPEPA mandates early dismissal of lawsuits that improperly target a person's right to free speech, petition, or association on a matter of public concern. Yeah, a defendant may file a motion to dismiss at the outset of the case, shifting the burden to the plaintiff to demonstrate a likelihood of prevailing on the merits. So I'm not going to bore you with more of this legalese. It's enough to say the plaintiff's claims, David Wilcock's claims, are barred. They're not allowed under the UPEPA. Defendant statements qualify as protected expression. What I'm doing here is free speech. It's protected expression, protected by the Constitution, protected by federal law, protected by state law. So what we get here is just a funny fact that Wilcock is so stupid to be making these claims. Go ahead, waste your money, fly all the way to Pennsylvania, dude. And according to the lawyer that I spoke with, he's looking at $20,000 to $50,000 just to write and file the case. And then it'll get instantly dismissed because of the laws here in Pennsylvania that don't allow you to use lawfare to try to silence somebody, right? So it's great. The good news is, I'm told almost all these kind of frivolous cases instantly get dismissed. So if he's so stupid, he wants to waste all that money just to get it instantly dismissed. Okay, all right, waste your money. But I think he's got better things to spend his money on. I don't know, like the plow guy. The plow guy, right? Kind and generous $1.99 from Top Jacko Maddox says, "How's your day going, brah?" Very, very good. I'm having a good day. Fat Chick Thriller says the winning is endless. Yeah, he hasn't even filed the lawsuit, and I've already won the dismissal. Fat Chick Thriller. And another one from Fat Chick Thriller. Oh, Steven, silly Steve, he won't need a lawsuit when he fires those missiles. Yeah, he's going to get me blown up. That's what's happening, Fat Chick Thriller, but thank you. Most tasteless with kind generous $4.99. Steve, did you see the guys Rogan had on last week? Guy said he can see an alien. They have a UFO app. I caught some of it in Rogan clip. Praise the cash. Yeah, we're probably going to be sampling some of that next week. I'm a little behind. There's a lot going on. Detective with a kind of generous $2. Wilcock is getting cocky with these threats. Yes, he is. Thank you, Detective. One for the goal. Wilcock's case is cooked. If I were his lawyer, I would submit the P-tub as evidence of insanity. Well, that's another thing. Should they not dismiss this because of the motion to dismiss I just showed you? I'll have a second motion to dismiss, and I will demand that the court gives this man a psychological evaluation before allowing a frivolous lawsuit to continue, just based on his statements like he's talking to angels. Angels told him to take baths in his own urine to get superpowers. He got superpowers and saved Trump from an assassin's bullet. What judge is not going to agree with me that a guy saying that stuff is probably batshit crazy, right? Fat Chick Thriller, the plow guy, a.k.a. Wilcock's wife's bull. That's true, yeah. Well, it's either the plow guy or a cucumber, Fat Chick Thriller. So we're gonna get to the clips. Oh man, how many do we have? No, not many this week. So it'll be quick. There's not too many. Let me just make sure that we're at the right spot. Yes, we are. Okay. All right. His Dumb as Rocks audience is now participating. Let me take a moment to put my fair use banner up. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public. and we'll be critiquing and talking about the video that we are sharing with the live chat. This tips the balance in favor of fair use, my friends. All right, let's get to this lunatic. Yeah, and I've been getting messages lately like that I'm driving David Wilcock crazy. It's not my intention, but he certainly is getting very obsessive about Stephen from Canada destroying his life and all of this stuff. Yeah, so Macario says, and by the way, thanks to Macario for doing these clips. It's so much easier. We used to go through the whole 4 or 5 hours to get to the good stuff, and it was pretty boring in many parts. Here he goes right from the start. Does not see that what he is doing might be defamation. His followers are, I don't even know. He does like calling Stephen a kid now. John Christian Spadavaccia says, this Stephen is a terrorist bit is going to get old quick. And terrorist accusations are incredibly heavy accusations to make these days. I wonder if David's labeling a critic as a terrorist will one day come back to bite him. And I wrote, David Wilcock is terrorized by the truth. That's right, David Wilcock. I'm terrorizing you with the truth. Let's see what this lunatic has to say.
You're a victim of gang stalking. Absolutely. I don't think anybody has ever been gang stalked as badly as I have been. The same kid has been doing this for 7 years. We strongly suspect someone is paying him. We have a good idea of who it is. And now that he has escalated into terrorism.
I've escalated into terrorism. And by the way, he's saying that I'm a kid. A kid would be somebody, I guess most people would agree, you would call an underage person, a person under 18, a kid. I'm certainly not under 18. But he says that this kid has been terrorizing him for 7 years. So that would have to mean that the child that is terrorizing him, the kid, started at 10 and is now 17 because he's still a kid, according to David Wilcock. He doesn't even realize the ridiculousness of the stuff that he's saying. Yeah, and Science Evidence Fringe brought this point to me, which I'm stealing. Same kid has been doing this for 7 years. Did he begin at 7, so he's now a 14-year-old kid? It's just ridiculous.
And making death threats with explosives from India and Russia, he's liable to minimum 16 years in prison.
David Wilcock's going to put me in prison for 16 years. David Wilcock, are you really losing it? Are you losing it, dude? I think you're losing it. You're going to put me in prison for 16 years? Oh, yeah. For what? Mean tweets? Or saying mean things about you on the internet? My God, David Wilcock. Man, I don't have the doll. I always forget the doll. I got a doll here somewhere. And I would hold it up and say, David Wilcock, show me on this doll where Stephen Cambion hurt you on the internet. He's essentially threatening to get me arrested as a terrorist because I'm terrorizing him by doing shows proving to his audience and the world that he lies to 500,000 people every week. That's terrorizing him.
So it sucks, but you know what? It's only one guy, and we're just going to keep on going because I'm not going to let evil intimidate me.
Look at all the people in this thread alone. He says that he only has one critic. Well, why isn't Macario in this thread? John Christian Spadavaccia, Science Evidence Fringe. We've got Buffalo Sponks. Liz E is in this thread. He's only got one critic. David Wilcock, I'm going to do a panel show, and I'm going to invite anybody who doesn't like you or is a critic onto the show, just to prove that you lie to 500,000 people every time you say you only have one critic. But later in these clips, he admits, now he's saying that I have a guild of people or something like that.
It's just how I roll. In fact, as a direct thank you to Stephen for continuing to do this stuff, I have put in more of the kind of things in this show that he really doesn't like.
Yeah, he put a fake whistleblower nonsense. Why do I care, Wilcock?
Including whistleblower testimony exposing the group that he may very well be involved with.
Yeah, he's implying that I'm a CIA guy. Not the case, Wilcock.
So this is going to be one heck of a show.
Try harder, Wilcock. You really need to try harder. This is low effort, right? You're just going to tell everybody I'm a terrorist? Why don't you talk about the receipts I have? Why don't you show your receipts? You're claiming you're getting death threats. Show it. Share your screen, bitch. Share your screen. Show us the death threats you're getting. Send me the emails with the metadata, and we'll see if those threats really came from Bosnia or India or wherever the hell you said. Or are you just making stuff up while you're collecting money, which could be, to some people, considered a form of fraud? Detective, I doubt Wilcock wants a lawsuit, because they are going to see them selling missiles and ammo without the right license. Yeah, I'm going to bring it all into court, detective. And let a jury see what am I reporting on? Do you guys that him and his company are offering to sell bombs and dynamite and ammunition, and they may not? We know they don't have the proper federal license to sell ammunition, but we don't know yet about if they have a license to sell explosives. I'm allowed to ask those questions. Detective, you can't drive Wilcock crazy. He's already there. Well, we're driving him crazier. Fat Chick Thriller, when did we start covering Megamind? Is Megamind the guy from... Oh, wow, look at that. Mike Larry with a kind and generous... What a kind and generous Mike Larry is. Gosh, we're so supportive. Mike Larry has gifted 20 True Seekers memberships. So Maria got a free one. A mom terrorist got a free one. Nick A, Dust523, Elise Diablon, SPF1234, Austin, Cray, Trailmaker 3, Zora, B Snacks, Jack Tangway, the Hydrogen Line, Katie, Gary, Rodimus Prime, Sir Bed Jin, Roaming Mexer, Nick, T.O. Hank, all got free memberships thanks to the kindness, generosity, and support of Mike Larry. Now's a good time to remind you, make sure you smash that subscribe button, because if you're in the live chat and somebody gifts all those memberships, they get randomly distributed. Yes, Arlene Atkins says Stephen is Wilcock's new grift. Yeah, he wants people to feel sorry for him. And I'm just here to tell you, David Wilcock, you are a pathetic little man. You really are a pathetic little man, right? You get up and look in the mirror and say, I did a great job. Like after your shows, do you look in the mirror and say, I did a great job lying to people today? I got a few more $1,000 in super chats, right? Can you read my deadpan? Says Steve, watch out, or he'll use the weapons he illegally sells on you. Yeah. Well, it's just bizarre to me. You know, I used to watch Ancient Aliens with my wife. That might have been before we were even married, that long ago. And if I could time travel back to my younger self and say, you see that guy that you're watching on Ancient Aliens? Someday he's going to threaten to sue you and get you arrested and say you're a terrorist and a child predator and a Satan worshiper. I never would have believed it. This is the wacky world I have somehow entered. I am now a character in the wacky world of Wilcock. This is crazy. So we're gonna go to the next clip. Oh, he's talking about getting a haircut. This is prime. Oh, where did it go? He's talking about getting a haircut because Stavati he's going to have business meetings for this shady aerospace company, right? So he's going to need a haircut to look his best. No, dude, you need a wig. You're so bald on the top of your head.
Don't be surprised if I end up doing that. I know you love this wildness, but we got to start doing some business meetings pretty soon for our aerospace company, Stavati. We've got a gigantic investment that's potentially coming in.
There's always a gigantic investment coming into this scam company. For 3 years now, he's been saying the money's coming. We got big deals going. We're getting a huge purchase order. We're getting a huge loan. People are investing billions of dollars this week or next week or the week after.
So I have to be ready for that. And I'm not sure yet if it would be more likely that we'll close if I have a shorter haircut like you see in this picture. So savor this long hair while you got it. Because
I don't think your haircut really matters, David Wilcock. You know, what matters, what's going to matter is if the people you're having a business meeting with Google you and find my show, telling everybody that you're telling people to take baths and piss to get superpowers, and that you saved Donald Trump with your psychic powers in the astral realm, right? And that you're in contact with the Archangel Michael, who's telling you to take baths in your own piss. I think that's going to impact your chances of getting business deals a lot more than your haircut. But what do I know, right? So he's talking about people. He's talking about people cloning him from his hair in the next clip. I'm going to skip that one. No. And then he's going to give people this guy who is completely bald on the top of his head is going to give people advice on how to avoid hair loss. I love this clip. I do like.
Tie it in a tail. Oh my God. Can I just please say that if you're a man and you have long hair, don't ever tie your hair back. Because if you're susceptible to hair loss, that's going to make it vastly, vastly worse.
Oh, this is pseudoscience. No, it doesn't, David Wilcock. A hair tie has nothing to do with making you go bald. Where did you get that shit from?
So I'm never going to tie my hair in any type of...
It's nice of him. He's giving people advice on how to avoid hair loss, and then he flips to the camera that shows his bald spot and that big bald spot on the top back of his head. Why would you take hair loss advice from a guy who's got his flipped cameras? He flipped the camera to show everybody his bald spot. Come on, bro. I'm not taking hair loss advice from a guy with a big ass bald spot in the back of his head. I'm not going to do it. Sorry.
Ponytail or braid or anything like that at all.
And then he realizes, oh, I just showed my bald spot. I gotta take that down. I just showed my bald spot.
That's the same thing that would happen if you accidentally left a spoon.
Wilcock cried when he left a spoon in the microwave.
That's the same thing that would happen if you accidentally left a spoon in your Chef Boyardee, whatever your canned food is, and you accidentally leave the spoon in there, ravioli or whatever. And then, oh my God, there's all these sparks coming out, right? Holy crap, what did I do? You start crying. Well, you don't ever leave it in there.
So David Wilcock cried as a child when he left a spoon in the microwave. Buffalo Spunk says he is a spoon. Oh, no.
Psychopaths want to find something.
Oh, this is great. David Wilcock is perfectly describing himself in this clip. Macario says, oh, damn, did he watch your stream this weekend when you said his shirt was looking a little snug on him and he was getting fat? Wow. Yeah.
Psychopaths want to find something wrong with you. That's why if I cut to this wide shot over here, oh, he's fat. I'm not fat. Again, I look fat from sitting in the chair.
No, you're fat,
that's what
dude.
The chair does.
You're definitely fat.
My back is slouched this way. My belly is slouched.
Oh, he's not fat, friends. It's just the way he's sitting that makes him look fat, right? Buffalo Spunks, he is so insecure. For sure, he watched it. He watches every single thing about himself. He can't not. Yeah, I agree.
Forward. Believe me, I'm not overweight.
I don't believe you. I think you're definitely overweight, and that's okay. Get a little older, start packing on the pounds. I got to go back to the carnivore diet myself.
You're not going to be.
I blame my wife though. She makes too much delicious food, and then I overeat.
You're not going to become famous or wealthy necessarily. They do have a few times where they do that, and my case would be one of them. I'm not wealthy, but I'm certainly famous.
Oh, he's so famous, friends.
And in most of the cases, though, you have a monastic existence. That's exactly what I've had for 3 years.
Yeah, he's living in a monastery, right? No, he's living in a multi-million-dollar log cabin mansion with heated floors. You're not living a monastic life with that kind of a house, dude. Are you stupid? Do you know, I actually have visited Buddhist temples and met monks. There's one in Philadelphia, the Shambhala Center, and a few others. And they literally have a little tiny room with 3 people all sleeping on these sort of cots on the floor. And they have a begging bowl that they put out, and people bring them food and rice and things like that. And they can't eat unless people bring them food and put it in the begging bowl. That's a monk's lifestyle. Or there are Catholic monks who take a vow of chastity and poverty. And again, they live a very simple life. They don't have things like even televisions, right? They read books all day and they pray in the chapel. That's a monastic lifestyle. You're no monk, dude. You're living in $1 million house. That's a monk would not live in $1 million house by himself.
Nobody is around, no friends. I meditate all the time.
Oh, it's too bad he has no friends. Well, I could kind of guess why, right? Do you ever like in your group of friends have that guy that was always telling fake stories and bullshitting and nobody could stand him? That is David Wilcock.
I'm alone.
Oh,
And
too bad. He's
therefore,
alone.
I've just been working on my spiritual path, and I've had incredible strides in my own ascension process. My psychic abilities have gone up dramatically. It's really quite amazing. Every day I'm having really weird psychic events going on.
Yeah, why can't he film these psychic events or prove that they happen? Oh, my psychic abilities are peaking. Okay, sure they are, David Wilcock. Come on.
There's a list of 20.
This is funny. Macario says he has said this 100 times. Wilcock talks about himself. This is what I was talking about earlier. What he's about to say perfectly describes himself, and he doesn't even realize it. Buffalo Spunk says no self-awareness, none. His light bulb is out. Now listen to what he's about to say here, and then think about David Wilcock.
There's a list of 20 questions in psychology, and they talk too much. They're sexually promiscuous. They lie to everybody. They're always conniving. They look at people who love them as somebody who is able to be manipulated and is weak.
Wow. So, David Wilcock, you lie constantly. I don't know about this. I'll give him a pass on the sexually promiscuous part because I don't think that, remember, vagina makes him physically ill. Like coming close to a vagina, he can't handle a vagina. So, unless he's sexually promiscuous with butt stuff with dudes, which I don't know, he may be, I don't know. But we'll give him a pass on the sexually promiscuous part. But listen to this again. Come on.
A list of 20 questions in psychology, and they talk too much.
They talk too much. This guy does 6 and 7 hour streams.
They're sexually promiscuous.
Well, I'll give him a pass on that one.
They lie to everybody.
They lie to everybody. David Wilcock, how many times have I caught you lying to 500,000 people? That's everybody. That's your entire audience, 500,000. How many times have we caught you lying? You lie all the time. You constantly lie. Remember when you lied and said I got you swatted and we proved you lied to everybody? Remember when you lied to that animal control officer and saying I was doing all these terrible things to you and that I sent those letters and we proved that was not me? You lied to 500,000 people. You lie constantly. Listen to him. He's describing himself.
They're always conniving. They look at people who love them as somebody who is able to be manipulated and is weak.
Yeah. David Wilcock, for all of his faults, he does have stupid people in his audience that love him. And what does he do to those people? He manipulates them and he shakes them down for $333 every chance he gets. I would consider that conniving, David Wilcock. You've hit every red flag that you're describing here. Perfectly describes you, bro.
And they only get off on hurting people. They don't get off on love because, again, if you hug them, if you tell them you love them, the part of their brain that would normally give them a reward is gone. That's the mark of the beast. They don't feel happiness from being loved. There's a list of 20 questions in psychology.
They don't feel happiness from being loved. Yeah, I think that would qualify with David Wilcock. I don't think he cares or appreciates the love of his crystal hippie bitch dumb as rocks audience, right? He only cares about how that translates into free money so that he can live a millionaire's lifestyle while crying that he can't survive on $258,000 a year, right? It's kind of ridiculous, but it is funny that he doesn't even realize he's describing himself. Old Nosy asks, will your contacts in Russia be able to shoot the missiles down that Wilcock fires at you? Yeah, I don't really foresee. I don't think those missiles exist. I think that's more smoke and mirrors of them pretending to be a big aerospace company. I don't think they actually have those weapons. Christo, with a kind of generous $5 Australian, his big investor is actually a big investigation by the IRS. Did you see my email about the Project Camelot interview, Stephen? No, send it to me again, please. I would love to have all of his Project Camelot interviews because I can praise the cash going through them all. Please email truthseekershow@gmail.com. And I always, you know what I'm going to do? 1 second. Here, I'm going to I'm going to put my email on the screen because people must screw it up all the time. People say, I sent you an email and I didn't get it. And I think people add an S, like they Truth Seekers show or something. I don't really know. But one second here. So this is my email, truthseekershow@gmail.com. And thank you for your kindness in the super chat. Please send me those interviews because we can praise the cash while going through those. It must suck being so heavy and not being a slam pig. Oh, but thank you, Fat Chick Thriller, for your kindness, generosity, and support. Old Nosy in PPP's voice. He's bald, he's fat, and he's a liar. Yes. I love when P tells everybody that somebody's broke. That makes me laugh every time. He's like, he's broke. Storm Crow with a kind, generous $2 Australian says, for the goal. Thank you. Congrats on 15K. Another one from Storm Crow. $2 Australian. Thank you for your kindness. Double Tap Ranger Outdoors with a kind, generous $2.79. One for the goal. Thank you. Longtime show supporter. Double Tap Ranger Outdoors. Sounds like you and I would be friends, man. You could come and visit the cabin. You like outdoor stuff? I think we talked before and you do. So, and you like bushcraft and all that stuff. We would be fast friends. Double Tap Ranger Outdoors. So let's get to the next. Let's get through this slop. Oh boy. I think I lost my place.
There's a list of 20.
Oh yeah, that's where he doesn't realize he's talking about
we're
himself.
Very close to.
Okay, so David Wilcock is still pretending that Stavati Aerospace is really going to do something. Macario says they were happy with the hangar that still needs about $2 million for all the repairs, $2 million for a new power station, $5 million, $10 million to get it to aerospace specs. Yeah, but David Wilcock is claiming they're getting a $10 million loan and they're going to do all these wonderful things with it. I think that Christopher Beskar and Stavati Aerospace is lying to David Wilcock. I think they took him for, according to him, $1.5 million, and they're never giving him his $1.5 million back.
But we're very close to closing on a $10 million deal.
Oh, they're very close. Every week, they're very close to closing on a deal, but it never happens, David Wilcock. Do you know why? Because the company is fake, because their products are fake, because for 30 years they haven't made anything or sold anything. And their only income, as we know from the court documents, was from a garbage dumpster company.
And hopefully that's going to happen very soon. We got our appraisal. The appraiser was totally psyched about our building. And again, we have another really big deal coming in. This company, by the way, is going to be doing Area 51 type technologies.
Yeah, they can't make a goddamn regular airplane, but now he's claiming they're going to make Area 51 technologies. If you can't make a regular airplane in 30 years, David Wilcock, what are the chances that you're going to suddenly come up with Area 51 top secret technology? Right? I think you better stick to selling fake dynamite to stupid people.
That's the most dangerous thing you can do. That's why I'm on the tip of the spear. I've actually bought a hangar. We have a,
He didn't buy it. He gave this shady aerospace company, reportedly, according to him, like $1.5 million, and they bought it.
It's huge, massive hangar that we can build airplanes or hover cars in.
Yeah, they've never built anything. And they've got nothing. The whole airplane hangar is empty. We showed the guy, Mark from Falcon Space, he went and visited. There's nothing happening there. There's no workers. There wasn't even a car there in the parking lot. There's nobody at the hangar. So did you waste $1.5 million on an airplane hangar that's been sitting empty for 2 or 3 years now so that you could brag and say that you're the director of exotic technology for a company that never made a single product? Did you really waste $1.5 million on your ego, David Wilcock?
And there's different technologies we can use to make hover cars. So we want free energy. We want anti-gravity. We want you to have an affordable hover car.
Oh, yeah. We all want affordable hover cars. Come on. It's so pie in the sky. Broke alert. Mom says broke alert. Morn says broke alert. Yeah, brokey. He's brokey. Old Nosy says, and he's poor and gay. Yeah, a lot of people say he's gay. I don't know about that. And if he is gay, good for him, right? But be loud and proud about it. Don't hide it. Stephen, please don't make me into a banana sandwich, says Super Smash Brothers with a kind and generous £2. And then we've got Double Tap Ranger Outdoors with another kind and generous $6.99. Another one for the goal. Thank you, Double Tap Ranger Outdoors. Storm Crow says getting close. I haven't checked in with the goal. But boy, what a generous crowd tonight. Thank you, Stormcrow, longtime show supporter. We appreciate you all throwing a couple bucks in our hat. Thanks for appreciating us and what we do here. All right, we're got to go to the next one. This is getting stupid, right? Oh, this one's a little longer at least.
So again, who's one of the...
Oh, look, Red Panda Koala. Red Panda, shout out to Red Panda Koala from UFO Twitter. You've made it now. David Wilcock is using you and reposting on his live stream your post. We were sent out there on behalf of our employer to look for whistleblowers, to report them to the FBI and get them arrested. So David Wilcock is repeating unproven, unsubstantiated claims from the Stolen Valor latest UFO whistleblower. You remember him, Jake Barber, the guy who lied and said that he took part in the liberation of Kuwait, but then people looked at his military records and figured out he wasn't even in the military during the liberation of Kuwait. He lied about that, lied and pretended he was special ops. No, he wasn't. He was an airplane maintenance guy. But hey, that's just his cover, of course. He's working on top secret projects. But as we saw those veterans last night in the show, they ripped this guy Jake Barber to shreds as a fraud and a liar. But of course, David Wilcock's going to use him as a source.
Number one UFO guys besides Greer, me.
Listen to himself. Oh, he's one of the number one UFO guys.
UFO guys besides Greer, me. There's not very many of us. There's Louis Elizondo, there's Stephen Greer, David Wilcock. These are top names. And we're all kind of doing our own things. And now there's a big feud going on between Elizondo and Greer. And Elizondo says Greer is a terrorist, and they're fighting each other. Ufology's...
Maybe that's where he got the idea to call me a terrorist from that, right? Just call your critic a terrorist.
Very much like rap. Everybody's like dissing other rappers, dissing other MCs. And I'm used to it by now. But again, nobody has ever been stalked as badly as I have been by this one guy, Steven.
Oh, say my name, bitch. Say my name. Let's back it up. But say my full name. Suffer David Wilcock. I'm living right there in that big ass dome of yours, rent free. Suffer, bitch. Suffer. Say my name, bitch. Say it. Say my name, bitch.
Nobody has ever been stalked as badly as I have been by this one guy, Steven.
And, oh, by the way, I just want to put on the record that the purposes of my broadcast is never to stalk, harass, threaten, or intimidate anybody. I'm exercising my constitutional rights to free speech. I'm allowed. You're a public figure, David Wilcock. All I'm doing is talking about the public statements that you make. That's perfectly legal. It's perfectly permissible in the democracy that we live in. This isn't Stalinist Russia. This isn't, the Chinese Communist Party where you're not allowed to criticize people. I'm allowed to criticize you all I want. It's not terrorism unless you're terrorized by the truth. David Wilcock is terrorized by the truth.
Who is now committing acts of terrorism. So,
he just said Stephen is committing acts of terrorism. Do you have any proof that I'm committing acts of terrorism, or did you just purposefully and with malice slander me and attempt to damage my reputation falsely with false accusations that I'm committing terrorist acts? This clown who says he's going to sue me is so stupid. I didn't even take this clip to the lawyer that I talked to. I took the old clips where he was calling me a Satan worshiper and a child predator and lying and saying that I got him swatted. And the lawyer that I talked to said all of those things that he was saying is actionable. We could sue him for defamation, but then I have to prove damages and, I have to prove some kind of, losses related to that. Winning is an RTX 5090. Get Lily better, internet. Thank you, Charles Rowland. We appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us. And we've got one from RoboNext666. Hover cars that run on piss. Yeah. Could be. All right, let's Continue this slop.
This is the context, folks. The same thing is happening to me online, and it happens to the rest of us. We are being stalked. We are being hunted. They want us, again, I got this inch-thick subpoena. I'm being harassed. All these crazy things are...
He's being harassed by the truth. Listen, mean tweets are not really harassment. They're mean tweets, David Wilcock. I know you're a pussy, but like grow a set of balls. Put your big boy pants on, and why don't you just stand up to the people? If they're saying false things, then prove it. Get some receipts. Show us the receipts of the terrorist attacks you're under. Show us the receipts of the death threats. Show us the receipts. He never does, but I do. Remember when he said I got him swatted? And then I got the body cam footage proving he was never even swatted? That's what you do, David. You stand up like a man and you say, oh, hell no, bitch. You're not going to lie about me on the internet, and I can prove it. But the problem is David Wilcock lies so much that he can't keep the truth straight. There is no truth to him. It's just an ever-growing series of lies. And what you know about a liar is they have to lie more to cover the previous lies. Why don't you apologize to your 500,000 subscribers for lying to all of them, claiming that I got you swatted? You were never swatted. You lied to 500,000 people about that. How does that feel, bitch? How does it feel to lie to 500,000 people? And now he has to tell more lies. Instead of addressing the old lies, he has to tell more lies that are more, it's getting more and more grandiose. Now I'm a terrorist and I'm threatening to blow people up somehow. And he's getting me arrested and I'm going to go to prison for 16 years. These are all new lies to cover the old lies. Why don't you explain why you lied about the swatting event? That Kuwait liberation lie really peeved me off. My boyfriend was actually in the Marines, ground invasion. Yeah, that's called stolen valor, Sparky. And thank your boyfriend for that service. I appreciate veterans who actually served and did something and served their country, but I don't appreciate stolen valor liars that are using their military service to grift UFO dollars. Let's go push the goal, says Old Nosy. Well, we appreciate that. Thanks for appreciating us. Fat Chick Thriller says the winning is endless as the goal is hit. Oh, thank you very much. Very kind of you. And we still got another one, though. Sneedberger Syndrome. Say his name, Wilcock. Say it, bitch. Say his name, Wilcock. People are paying me. People are paying money to hear you say my full name. And it's Stephen Cambion from Truth Seekers. Grow a set of balls. Be a man. If you're going to accuse me of being a terrorist, make sure people know you're talking about me. And if you think that you're going to get out of claims of slander and malice and, damaging my reputation by only saying a first name, what are you going to do? Lie later and say you were talking about a different Stephen, not Steve Cambion? You already identified me as the so-called Stephen from Canada. Sleazy with a kind and generous $5 says he's too much of a coward to ever say the whole name. He's fat, he's bald, he's broke, he's scared. I agree, Sleazy. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that statement. And thank you for your kindness. Todd McSwole says there is a 0% chance Wilcock mistakenly gets detained by ICE for publicly claiming to be in contact with aliens so often. The funniest outcome is the most likely. Well, that would be funny, and we thank you for your kindness. B with a kind and generous $1.99. He calls you a terrorist because he's terrified. Yeah, he's afraid of me. He's got a pathological fear of me. I think mostly because he knows that I did the kill shot that killed his old grifting partner's whole grifting career. And he knows that he's next on the block here. Now we're covering him until the grift is done. Old Nosy says, look at his face, Steve. He's literally felted. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sparky says, proving the swatting story was fake was epic. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And Fat Chick Thriller, look at that pause frame, Steve. He is so felted. He is beaten and defeated, but not quite yet. Look, I got to give him some respect, Fat Chick Thriller, because there's a lot of people who have, but the problem is that he has no shame. In other words, like a normal person who gets caught lying so badly with that swatting lie. Oh, Steve Cambion, he got me swatted. And then we showed the body cam footage. He didn't even get swatted, let alone me causing it. A normal person getting caught lying so badly would have to make a public statement apologizing for getting that situation wrong, would have to go away for a little while, right? But he has no shame. Right after we caught him with the huge lie that I got him swatted or that he got swatted, with the receipts, the body cam footage, the police reports, everything, he just went live the next week and just lied more. He's shameless. He has no shame whatsoever. None. Fat Chick Thriller says, there is no mercy in this dojo, Steve. Sweep the leg. Yes, I am joking, Fat Chick Thriller, but I really mean it. I try to forgive, right? But I can't forget. And when he started telling people that I was a child predator and a Satan worshiper, now he's telling people I'm a terrorist. And I kind of have the attitude now, like, I wish the best for him and I hope God saves him. And, really most of me just feels like, may God have mercy on his soul, because I won't, David Wilcock. May God have mercy on your soul, because I won't. You went too far calling a good family man like me with 2 children a child predator with absolutely no evidence. You deserve the karmic swing that's coming for you. You deserve whatever happens next for doing something so sickening, so despicable, and so dangerous as to call a man with a wife and family and children a child predator to 500,000 people with no evidence, or to lie and say that I'm getting arrested, I'm under criminal investigation. These are all lies. You live in a fantasy world, David Wilcock. Remember when there was bomb threats and contact in the desert? We called the local police. There was no bomb threats. You lied about that. I'm going to pull those clips and we'll show those. You have a decades-long history of lying to people. And I have at least a 3 or 4 year history here with this show, Truth Seekers, of telling people the truth. Who do you think's going to win our little disagreement here, right? He's already lost the battle. He's already lost the battle before it even begins, friends.
Happening. And if you don't believe me, here's the guy saying that he worked as a man in black to get people arrested. They don't just want you to be broke like I already am.
Oh, he's broke. He can't survive on $258,000 a year.
Want you to be in prison. So I'm being accused of a crime that I did not commit. And we just gave them in the discovery process. That's why I was so busy this past week. It's one of the reasons I had to delay the show.
Oh, he's talking about Gaia TV. Yeah, he's screwed. Gaia TV has got they're like a $500 million company. So imagine the money that they have to pay lawyers. They're going after Corey Good and they're dragging David Wilcock into court too.
Is I wasn't quite ready to do it on Sunday. Plus we had wind, but we gave them 12,000 pages.
Oh yeah, listen to this. He says that he gave the lawyers in the Corey Good, Gaia versus Corey Good case, 12,000 pages after they apparently they subpoenaed all communications between him and Corey Good. And he gave them 12,000 pages. And then he admits here, he didn't even read the stuff. He just gave it to the lawyers. What an idiot. And I wrote, great idea, giving a legal opponent messages you've never even read before submitting them in the discovery process. He's a real legal genius. Oh, look at that face. Another felted face, right? Oh, what did I do? I screwed that up. We got to go back. Here, let me try to find it. Oh, yeah, here.
So again, who's are happening? And if you don't believe me, here's the guy saying that he worked as a man in black to get people.
This has nothing to do with you. And that guy's a proven liar, kind of like you. And isn't it fun that he's citing one proven liar to back up his proven lies? Awesome.
They want you to be in prison. So I'm being accused of a crime that I did not commit.
It's a civil case. The guy is a civil case. He's not being accused of a crime. It's a civil case. It's not a criminal case. He's so dumb he doesn't realize the difference. I'm being accused of a crime. It's a civil case. It's not a criminal case, David Wilcock. But he's going to pretend, he's got to embellish and pretend things to make his audience feel sorry for him, so they send him more money.
And we just gave them in the discovery process. That's why I was so busy this past week. It's one of the reasons I had to delay the show.
Yeah, he gave them 12,000 pages, but he didn't even read it.
But we gave them 12,000 pages of discovery. It was a 6 gigabyte file. And okay, you want all the stuff we've ever said between myself and this person I used to be working with for your company. You want all the names. We'll give you all the names. We'll give you what you want because the crime that you're looking for is not in there. Now, they're probably going to spend weeks and weeks digging through it. They're hoping to find something. I don't think they're going to find anything. Of course, I can't actually read it all, but I know.
He gave them 12,000 pages of messages between him and Corey Good, and he didn't read it.
No, I didn't do this, therefore I have nothing to hide.
He has nothing to hide, friends. Nothing to hide. Okay.
And we had that strange plane crash.
Macario says, is there anyone watching that hasn't fallen asleep at least once? I knew he was going to use this continuity of government for this week's show.
And, you know, it was very tragic. It was heartbreaking, the helicopter crash. Did you know that
yeah, of course he's going to grift off that tragedy.
It was actually targeting continuity of government, which is exactly what the alliance is about to start doing. This, therefore, is a threat to the alliance. Okay, check this out. So the first one, it says, breaking. A newly released video offers a different view of the mid-air collision. We saw that already, right?
Oh, here we go. This is the Q-Tard portion of his show, which is 90% of his show now. It's just, making screenshots of Q-Tard posts. The General, really a great source of accurate information on the internet. A guy calling themselves the General MC News. It's a Q-Tard poster. And I don't know, everybody that I know, even people that were super into the Q-Tard stuff, gave up on it a few years ago, realizing it was all fake. Not David Wilcock.
In front of the White House Capitol there. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth revealed that the military chopper involved in the crash in D.C. was an airplane on a continuity of government mission.
Of course he's going to use this.
Whoa. So they did it in D.C., and so that is exactly what the alliance is about to...
There is no alliance. The alliance is a construct, a fake story given to him by a senile old man.
Start when they do the arrests. And so here it was in the Ezra posts.
Oh, God, Shadows of Ezra. Oh, Jesus. Q-Tard nonsense. It's just Q-Tard nonsense. That's what David
The JFK
Wilcock
files
loves.
are due to arrive.
And here he gets this completely and totally wrong. He prides himself on having a 180 IQ. He can't read an executive order. If you read the executive order, the JFK files are not due to arrive. No, the plan for the release of them.
The JFK files are due to arrive this Friday, or at least the schedule of when.
Macario says, Wilcock thought they were going to arrive Friday, but earlier in the stream, someone told him it was only the plan to release them, so now he has changed to maybe. Another wrong date from Wilcock because he didn't listen to the actual news, just his top fake alliance friend, Shadows of Ezra. The plane crashes were also a threat to the alliance, so again, it was all about David. Everything that happens in the world is all about David Wilcock.
And they're going to come out, the plan. I don't know. Maybe we're not actually going to see them on Friday, but we're very close. So buckle up because this is the final stretch of our marathon.
Oh, the storm is coming, right?
this is where it was, this Friday of last week. Long-awaited JFK files could be released soon.
Yeah, they're probably not going to be released for 6 months, but the plan to release them has to be released very soon.
Another big news story we saw this week is crippling tariffs. Canada, 25%, Mexico, 25%.
So I wrote, the guy with a 180 IQ can't properly read an executive order right. This is the second time he has made this mistake. He's completely wrong. He's giving complete disinformation to stupid people. But that's what he does.
Same day, Friday, they also...
Now the 30,000 beds at Guantanamo are for mass arrests. Wait, didn't this already happen? He said that there was cargo container ships full of detainees being taken to Guantanamo Bay. He said that years ago. Now he's going to try to retcon it? I don't know.
Also announce, in addition to these crippling tariffs, 30,000 more beds going down there in Cuba. Oh, wow. I wonder who's going to be sleeping in these beds. I wonder what this is really about. Well, you know, this is the scenario. We already know the answer.
Oh, the mass arrests that he's been promising for 20 years.
So the press secretary said the DOD will ensure that they are increasing their capacity to provide for extra detention space. It is underway. And then they made it as an alliance post right here.
That's not the alliance. That's Shadows of Ezra, a Q-Tard.
They are now fully operational under 47 as he is preparing to expand the facility to house 30,000 more detainees. And then he's winking again at you at the bottom here because we already know the answer. Hopefully they can send some clients in that direction. We are looking at right
And here's him years ago on 2019 saying that the mass arrests already happened.
now tribunals that are allegedly taking place. We have very good intel on this from multiple insider sources.
Yeah, insider. Every time he says insider, that just translates to bullshitter. His bullshitter friends told him this stuff.
That they have arrested right now key people in the deep state. They already have
David
tribunals
Wilcock.
going on in several locations.
And this is in 2019. Hey, David Wilcock, none of this actually happened. You were 100% completely and totally wrong here. But now he's trying to tie it into this announcement that they're expanding the space at Guantanamo for more prisoners. You said the mass arrests already happened in 2019.
In the United States and apparently Guantanamo, there are prison barges taking people to Guantanamo. And what they've done is they have started with the mid-level people who were directly involved in child trafficking.
Oh, geez.
These sealed indictments that we've been hearing so much about.
All right, so we proved our point. He's completely and totally wrong on everything he talks about because he's a dummy. He's just stupid. This guy is dumb as rocks, man.
Where it says
he has to take every tragedy and use it, says Macaria. What a POS. Can't agree more.
Lockheed has been pioneering unmanned Black Hawk technology, allowing the helicopter to fly entirely without a pilot. Thanks to the
This is Q-tard conspiracy nonsense, though, because we know that the helicopter that was involved in the tragic accident was manned.
Matrix system, a fusion of AI, sensors, and automation. Cutting-edge system enabling it to take off, navigate, and land autonomously, even in complex environments, while also allowing for...
This is such nonsense. We know there was people on the helicopter piloting it.
Optional manned operation.
Conspiracy
demonstrated
nonsense.
This remote-controlled Black Hawk in Washington just weeks before the election. So you see what's happening here, folks? The people inside the plane were screaming. They were talking to the tower. They've got the flight stick. They're screaming. They're like, we can't stop this. We're heading right for it. It would have been an absolutely horrific, terrifying death because the controls are overridden. The same thing can happen with any car, 2007 and on up.
This is where he shows his stupidity again. According to David Wilcock, if you have a car from 2007 or newer, anybody can just automatically take over your car and remotely pilot it. I'm going to say that again. Here he says that if you have a car from 2007 or newer, that they can take over your car and automatically drive it. Yeah, he said this.
2007 and on up, which is why I don't drive anything newer than a 2006. Because it's a secret mandate that after 2006, they can remote pilot your car.
Oh, who's they? Who's remote piloting my car? You know, it just gets stupider and stupider. Like, what is your source for this? What is the evidence or proof that you can offer that they, whoever the mysterious they is, I guess the cabal or whatever, the deep state, they can pilot your car if it's 2007 or newer? News to me, Jack Dittman with a kind and generous $5 Australian, he gave them 12,000 pages because he's hoping they missed the incriminating stuff. Yes, absolutely. And Old Nosy with a kind and generous $2 says they're just building 3,000 cloning pods. Absolutely. Fat Chick Thriller with a kind and generous $2.99. Wilcock to Guantanamo Bay. Will the winning ever stop? I don't think he'd last too long in a real prison, Fat Chick Thriller. He'd be somebody's bitch in about 2 minutes, right? Buffalo Spunk says the only thing piloting his car are mice who pooped and peed in it. Yeah, his car is infested with mice, apparently. So, you know, that's just more proof of that he's insane. That's something that insane person would just be okay with, like a bunch of mice in the garage eating his car every day, right? Making nests, and he's complained that the mice are destroying the car that he has in the garage. And I think one time he said it like wouldn't start because there's too many mice in it or something. The UFOs are remotely driving your car, says Richard. Yeah, absolutely, right? All right. Every tragedy, I agree with Macario. He takes every tragedy and tries to use it, right? To make people feel sorry for
Crap, you
him.
guys. It is on. The same day that the tariffs came out, the second air
Now you got to connect some dots that don't really connect, right? And Macario says it's amazing. Can you believe that the jet was going really fast and it had to have extra stuff on board because of the large explosion? It couldn't be the jet fuel.
airplane disaster
And here he is. He's just tacking conspiracies on top of a tragedy while collecting super chats. Some spiritual guru.
occurs. Another threat from the DS because they're in
You
future.
know, how'd you like it if like your brother, your sister, your cousin, your mom, your dad, your son, your daughter was in that tragic, was in one of those aircraft that tragically crashed, and you lost your family member, and then a dummy like David Wilcock is on the internet making up fake conspiracies about that event so that he could collect money from stupid people. This is where the despicable nature of David Wilcock becomes apparent.
utility.
He's willing to do anything to collect super chats.
They're bleeding and on the run, and they want to scare everybody. So here it was. It says, what in the hell is happening with American aviation this week? And the explosive power.
Oh, and by the way, David Wilcock, you dummy. I'm going to put this on the record. This plane crash in Northeast Philadelphia took place less than a mile from my mother-in-law's house. There was no conspiracy, and everything he's about to say is a complete and total lie. And I know that because I have family that live right near where this happened. Could have hit their house. They live less than a mile away from the crash site. They went and looked at the crash. And by the way, David Wilcock, every time that you try to profit off of a tragedy, there's a karmic debt. You shouldn't do that. There's a karmic debt to be paid when you lie to 500,000 people about a tragedy so that you could collect money. And to some people, that would be considered a form of fraud because everything you say in this clip is nonsense. And that's proven by anybody that's familiar with the actual situation and what actually happened. And the facts of the case are clearly established, and they dispute everything you say in this clip.
And the explosive power seemed far greater than you would get from regular jet fuel. 6 were feared dead. And it was a medical helicopter transporting a young female patient. We'll get more into that.
Yeah, another tragedy exploited with fake conspiracies so that David Wilcock doesn't need to get a real job.
Much later in the show when we get into the Alliance section. And then as it hit the ground in the second one, this medical plane, the medical Learjet, it was again traveling as if it was being remotely piloted, which it very likely was.
It was not remotely piloted, you dumbass. And how dare you collect super chats and lie about a tragedy in which 6 people lost their lives. Like, this is where I start getting angry at him. Like, this happened less than a mile from my mother-in-law's house. It's a tragedy. It's a plane crash. 6 people died. But there's no conspiracy, David Wilcock. It wasn't a missile. It wasn't missile-like. And there wasn't greater explosive power. All of this is lies. Why are you lying about a tragedy where 6 people lost their lives? You're supposed to be in contact with angels. Wouldn't angels say, don't collect money off of lies about a tragedy where 6 people died, because that's something that a scumbag would do, not something that a real spiritual person would do. But here we are, and this is where we find ourselves.
It probably had extra stuff on board they didn't know about.
It didn't have anything extra they didn't know about, and it wasn't remotely piloted. He just said it was remotely piloted. Very likely it was remotely piloted. We know it was piloted. Read the news. Read the newspaper articles. Watch the news. It was piloted. It wasn't remotely piloted. Why are you creating fake conspiracies while collecting super chats about the tragic death of 6 people? You are a low-life scumbag, a bottom-feeding, conspiracy-minded idiot.
To make a bigger bang, because it flies down like a missile. Precise, and we'll see a lot.
It didn't fly down like a missile, you dummy. It crashed like airplanes often do, or sometimes do.
A lot more slides about this. The precise moment the plane just crashed, numerous casualties reported. What do you notice? And it was flying very, very fast.
Oh, God, this guy is really getting to me. Well, that's two disasters that David Wilcock created fake conspiracies about in order to make money, right? Very nice, right? All right. Well, I lost my place now.
This is not just about David Wilcock. This is...
Oh, here we go. Let me see. Yeah, David Wilcock.
This is not just about David Wilcock. This is about me being used as their messenger for something that's much bigger, much more powerful than I am, much more powerful than any government on earth.
David Wilcock is being used as a messenger, kind of like he was used by that reptilian that butt banged him, I guess. I don't know.
And I have been through absolute living hell to do this work. I haven't really been that happy about my life, honestly. It really sucks to be threatened with death.
Oh, he's not being threatened with death. He's making this crap up.
It really sucks to be gang stalked. I was on the phone with my friend Artie. I was very sad about this. It's like, I'm just tired of doing these super long 5-6 hour shows every week. I'm tired.
Macario says he has to work 6 hours a week. That's a whole 288 hours a year. And all he makes is $258,000. How does he live with himself, right? How does he deal with that tragic consequence? Wow, you only work 6 hours a week and you make $258,000 a year, and here he is complaining.
Super long 5-6 hour shows every week. I'm tired of being threatened so much. I'm tired of, the amount of risk that I have to take to do this, to read the stuff from the Alliance, read the stuff from Michael.
Yeah. Oh, I have to take such risk to read Q-Tard Telegram posts on my show every week. I'm risking everything.
And all I have is the power of God, the protection of God.
I don't think you have the protection of God, bro, because what you're doing is evil. Like in the two examples we just showed, you are lying to people and creating fake conspiracies in order to collect money from two tragedies where many, many people died tragically. I don't think God's on your side, bro. I don't think God is on your side when you do stuff like that.
If you want to subscribe, @Stavati Arrow, it's going to mess up this synchronicity, but...
Oh, yeah. Listen, this one's funny. Macario says, Wilcock is crying that Steven will add followers.
If you want to subscribe, @Stavati Arrow, it's going to mess up this synchronicity, but I wanted to leave it there for a while. I knew that if I published this before the show, that Steven would attack it and add a bunch of followers and make it go away. But, whatever. I don't even care about him.
Oh, he doesn't even care. What did he say? He says he doesn't care about me. Oh, that's a shame, David Wilcock. I care about you. I'm wishing you a road to redemption. I pray for you every day that you're going to get a real job and stop lying to 500,000 people every week to survive and to eat.
But, whatever. I don't even care about him.
Oh, he doesn't care about me. Oh, David, I'm really hurt. I'm really hurt that a spiritual guru doesn't care about me.
Saw a strange thick fog.
Oh, and here we go. Remember this medical advice from Wilcock. You have to huff air filled with parasites as long as you keep taking the horse paste.
Appear over L.A. Uh-oh. And he had just said, watch the water, right?
Yeah, and all that fog stuff turned out to be fog.
An aerial view reveals a thick fog blanketing parts of L.A.
Well, it could have been from all the fires, right?
Again, the main toxin appears to be parasites. So make sure that you buy your $9 magic paste and keep on taking it, because if you do that, you could huff that fog. It won't make a difference. But if you don't, then you're probably going to end up sick.
Oh, you can huff parasite-filled infected fog as long as you take horse tranquilizer. It's not horse tranquilizer, horse dewormer. And who is taking medical advice from David Wilcock? Who would be dumb enough to take medical advice from this guy, right? Oh, man.
But there is an unscheduled press conference going on.
David Wilcock and his best friend forever alliance member, Shadows of Ezra, were shocked that Trump was having an unscheduled press conference. Then 180 IQ David thought it was going to be disclosure until chat told him what it was. He has gone full tard. Yes.
Right now, this story was breaking just before. This is why I was 5 minutes late. I had to get this slide in. He is set to hold an unscheduled press conference with all reporters being called to the White House.
Yeah, this happens. So
That
what?
is exactly
Who
what
cares?
we expected to happen when there was going to be some type of unexpected disclosure or announcement. So, does anybody
You
know,
thought Trump was going to announce the aliens, this dummy.
has the press conference happened? And if so, what is he saying? If you guys know, tell me in the comments, and I will be reading that.
He has gone full Q-tard. He thought that President Trump was going to announce that the aliens are here, right? He thought they were going to announce that the aliens have come, right? Oh,
No
man.
money, no.
Can you believe David has such poor people in his chat? Here he is, disgusted by poor people in his chat.
No money, no pace, says Cynthia Marie Brewer. If you can't, this is $8, $9. You can spare.
Here, look, there's a horse on the goddamn box. David Wilcock, do you know that giving medical advice on YouTube is a violation of terms and service? You're telling people to take horse medicine on your live stream to 500,000 people.
You can spare the $9, dude. You can spare it, okay? Anyway, I haven't had $9 given to me in 5 years, says Cynthia. Well, I'm sorry if you don't even have $9. That's very sad, but we're praying for you, Cynthia.
He seems totally disgusted by the brokies in his live chat. Like, oh, she doesn't have $9. She can't give me any super chats. She's a brokey.
What is the paste called? Again, I'm not going to say it, but if you need to buy it, if you want to buy it, there it is. And this will, it's done a great job.
And by the way, this will be in my lawsuit. More proof that David Wilcock is clinically insane. He's taking horse dewormer so that he can, huff fog filled with parasites. That's another crazy statement, something that somebody that lives in an insane asylum would say. That's going in my countersuit or my motion to dismiss.
For me, it actually kills acne. And
oh boy, he's telling people to take horse medication on a public live stream.
Who is Steven? I can't say his last name, but he is a troll who is,
Wait, why can't he say my last name? Say my name, bitch. Say my name.
Who is Steven? I can't say his last name, but he is a troll who is, attacking every post that I do, usually within 60 to 90 seconds on X.
Yeah, and by the way, I've put it on the record multiple times. I only have one Twitter account. I can't post anything when he tweets something because he's blocked me for years now. I'm not posting anything on his Twitter threads, but he's blaming me for it. And you do realize, Genius of Millennium, 180 IQ guy, that if we have to go to court over this situation, you have to prove that it's me making these posts that you keep crying about and calling terrorist acts. Mean tweets are a terrorist act to David Wilcock.
He creates 5 or 6 fake identities each time. He tries to...
I have no fake identities.
He's making defamatory comments.
I'm making defamatory comments? Like you're lying to people? I've proven it with all the receipts. How is that defamatory? You're lying to people. I'm telling people the truth. Who do you think a judge and a jury are going to side with? You're sitting here trying to damage my reputation, claiming I'm doing all these things that you can't prove I do, but I can prove I didn't do them.
He's alleging things about me that are not true.
What am I alleging about you that's not true? That you're a wackadoo, that you're a career liar, that you've made decades-long career of lying to people and extracting money from stupid people? Is that what I'm alleging? I think a judge and a jury would side with me when it comes to that issue, Mr. Wilcock.
It's incredible stalking. Plus, he's also got his own videos that he's doing. So there's a lot of things that are going on that are interesting. Stephen does seem to have a little guild of other co-conspirators.
Oh, you guys are all co-conspirators. Do you want to join my guild? Who wants to join my guild? I'm going to start a guild. We've got a guild now? Wow, I didn't know we had a guild. I guess all you people are co-conspirators now. All of you are co-conspirators. There's a big conspiracy. You're all part of it. Cave Teeth says, those piss baths really went to his head. Yeah, I can't say that I disagree with you. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Very, very kind of you. And let me just try to catch up to the live chat there. Okay. And we'll continue here.
And I think we know where they're all from ultimately.
Yeah, he's trying to imply that me and all my co-conspirators are deep state men in black. I don't know. We're the cabal. We're the CIA people, right? Come on, David Wilcock. Are you that stupid? Do you really believe that, right? Do you really believe? Does any of your dumb as rocks followers must believe it, though, which is really kind of funny.
It's called the amplituhedron. And when you look at the
Macario says the Jews were right because of David. He was once King David.
Geometry of it, it is the Star of David. It's tetrahedrons. So the Jews were right. King David was right. That was supposedly my past life.
He was King David in a past life, yes.
The Star of David, the Star of King David, is the shape of the original seed of the universe, and now modern physics is caught up.
Yeah, and what kind of a bloated sense of self-importance do you have to be to say that in my past life I was King David, right? Like, why is anybody with a past life never like, oh, I was a janitor, right? Or you know, I was a farmer in ancient Egypt. It's always some grand historical person. It's never like normal people.
Obviously,
I guess no normal people have. You know, if you're just a normal working stiff, you don't get to have another life when you're done.
There's some really bad.
But if you're a famous person, you do.
Stuff happening here, and then everybody started to cover this.
David is saying that he works for the Alliance and that we should give him credit. I think everyone needs to make sure to thank Shadow for all he does for Wilcock.
But again, you guys, you know, if you borrow off of the Alliance, you should at least give them credit. And so nobody seems to be doing this. If you use their stuff.
And by the way, Shadows of Ezra is on record saying he doesn't even know who you are, but that he thinks you're crazy. He's not the Alliance. You're just making stuff up and lying to 500,000 people again.
Please give them credit because I'm working for them too. And they are.
He's working for a Q-Tard Telegram poster?
Are absolutely the finest people alive, as they said in one of the posts. So please give them a shout out, okay?
Yeah, shout out to Fake Alliance or David Wilcock will get upset.
This misery.
Why does David Wilcock have to pee outside or somewhere? He has to? What weird shit is going on now? So David Wilcock, for those unaware, he lives in a $2 million mansion, right? Yeah, that is not a big guitar, but I prefer Gibsons. Strats are shitty. You know, they're for gay dudes. That's just my opinion. Don't send me hate mail. I'm allowed to have an opinion. Stormcrow with a kind and generous $2 Australian says, one for the guild. Fat Chick Thriller $2.99 says, one for the guild. Well, I'll start. We're going to have a guild fund. Yeah, we need to have a guild fund, but thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. So apparently David Wilcock lives in a $2 million mansion. Last I checked on Zillow, his home is worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 to $2 million, I believe, to the best of my recollection. But somehow he has to piss outside. He can't piss. I guess his bathroom is all backed up. Like, did he drop a huge deuce? Yes, Mr. Protractor, for the guild. Yes. And Fat Chick Thriller says the guild fund. Yes, we're going to need a fund. So I don't know if David Wilcock dropped a huge deuce and he backed up his bathroom, but according to Zillow, that house has 3 bathrooms that he could pee in. But somehow he's got to pee outside. And Macario says, what the hell is he doing now? What's going on? Elmo says maybe he's marking his territory. If he pees everywhere outside, it will keep the deep state away. He is touching up his makeup on his pee breaks. He's marking his territory to scare off Bigfoot. Lilith says, how much do you want to bet he has piss jars under the table? He only mutes to pee for like 30 seconds while showing the videos. Yeah, he might have piss jars. He's always doing weird shit. He needs the men in white coats ASAP. All right, let's hear about this.
This misery that I'm feeling is I'm going to show you another video, and I'm going to take a very quick pee outside or somewhere because I have to do that.
He has to pee outside? David Wilcock lives in a $2 million mansion, but he just said he has to pee outside.
Very quick pee outside. Or somewhere because I have to do that.
I have to pee outside. He just said he has to pee outside. What kind of weird shit is going on in David Wilcock's house when he has 3 bathrooms and a $2 million mansion, but he still has to piss outside?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a defendant. I haven't been charged.
Macario says, I know Wilcock is more of a moron than Beskar, so his emails probably have a ton of evidence against him. Buffalo Spunk says, does he not even know the nature of the case against him? Why does he keep talking about being charged? He's not being charged. Maybe he shouldn't have entertained Corey Good's BS time travel Bluebird story and tried to ruin a company that gave them a platform. The bill comes due, David and Corey. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a defendant. I haven't been charged. It's very upsetting to have somebody trying to find things to hurt you with in your own emails, but you know, they can spend weeks and weeks reading through it, and I already know that I didn't do what they're accusing me of, so whatever they find is not going to be what they want.
Oh, David Wilcock is pretty worried about this case. What are they going to find in those emails? I don't know.
We'll see you on the other side, brother, says Kristen Kane. I mean, I'm really honestly surprised more people don't talk about my work. We do have...
Macario says, in his mind, the reason he doesn't have millions of views is because he is shadow banned. Not because people saw he was a complete and total nut job.
More people don't talk about my work. We do have David Nino Rodriguez. That's about it. It's kind of amazing that like nobody ever talks about this at all.
Well, I'm talking about it, but I'm ripping you to shreds for being a lunatic every week.
Working completely in isolation, but I'm okay with that, you know? I'm heavily shadow banned. Most people cannot see these shows.
Oh, you know, I just want to put on the record that a lot of times when people claim they're shadow banned, what they really mean is they bought a lot of subscribers, so their view counts are low because there's bots, there's not real people, it's not organic. And that may be the case with him. I think he bought a lot of his subscribers because it doesn't make sense that he has 500,000 subscribers and look at his view counts. 3 Havoc. With a kind of generous $5 Australian, with a tithe for the Guild of Wilcock Skeptics. You know, that's what we're going to call it. The Guild of Wilcock Skeptics. Absolutely. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Padded Cells or Crowbar Motel for David. Yeah, he's not shadow banned. He bought a lot of subscribers, and that's why his view counts are terrible.
I used to have millions of views. Now I'm, you know, my Twitter posts only get like 5,000 to 10,000 views.
Yeah, and we know that he was closely associated with Edge of Wonder, which worked for Falun Gong, and they had bot farms. While he was working with those guys, he was getting millions of views. Not a coincidence at all.
At David_Wilcock. Against Stavati is Stavati Arrow.
All right. He's too bad. He's shadow banned. That's why. It's not because he's batshit crazy and people know that. Right?
Somehow we managed to stay on the air. Every week I'm like, oh my.
Macario says, he is so full of it. He really wants the alliance to be real so that he can have friends. I wish real David Nino would see it's a bad idea to be attached to David and Stavati, then drop his ass. It might break him knowing that no one will listen to him. We all know he needs someone listening to every word. He is close to a complete break. And Elmo says, David's imaginary friend, the Alliance. Speaking of imaginary friends, anyone see the episode of Star Trek? The creepy girl reminds me of David. And Sirius Christensen says, he really is at his end. Yeah, he's really...
My God, if I read this, I'm going to get taken off the air. So I want you to understand the enormous risk that I'm under. Terrorism, death threats, blackmail and extortion, constant gang stalking.
Why doesn't he show the evidence of any of this stuff? Look, man, I don't want to tell you how to run your grift, but you'll get more super chats if you show people even fake emails. Just make them up. You're making up the stories. Might as well make up some fake evidence to go with them. Why doesn't he ever show receipts?
I want you to understand the enormous risk that I'm under.
Oh, he's under terrorism.
Terrorism, death threats, blackmail and extortion, constant gang stalking, constant harassment, subpoenas, 12,000 pages of disclosure. It goes on and on and on. You would think that I'm onto something here.
No, or you would, maybe it's karmic debt coming due. What did you say about Gaia TV? You said that they were Luciferian Satanists when you quit and wrote a 20-page rambling resignation letter. We should go over that one. And what he's calling terrorism is mean tweets on Twitter. Like he posts something and somebody will reply and say, David is a lying con artist. That's what he's terming terrorism. he embellishes and exaggerates everything. And I don't know about extortion attempts, right? Death threats. There's no police reports of any of this. And I just want to ask the live chat a question. Am I being unfair here in saying this? If people were threatening your life, you were getting real terrorist threats and extortion attempts against you, wouldn't you file police reports? He hasn't filed any police reports in his local jurisdiction. I check every week. He has filed no police reports. So what is he saying? I'm getting death threats, but I didn't report it to the police. People are attempting to blackmail me and extort money from me, but I didn't report it to the police. People are terrorizing me, but I didn't report it to the police. Do you know why? Because they would laugh him out of the police station. Because all of those things that he's mentioning, I think, are just mean tweets until he proves otherwise. I'm getting gang stalked, but I'm not going to report that to my local police. He's reported nothing to his local police. And I think he knows because they'll investigate and they'll laugh at him. As well, any person should.
Tortious interference with our company, damages that we've had from people believing that these attacks are true, that we're a fake company. Now they find out they're not.
Yeah, if you're not a fake company, then show us some of the products that you make. And I don't mean pretty pictures or 3D printed bullshit. I mean, show us a real airplane. Show us you flying a real airplane, or Stavati, anybody at Stavati flying a real airplane that your airplane company made. They've been in business for 30 years and they haven't produced a single airplane product or service. So it's kind of logical that somebody would say they're a fake company.
They're going to issue an apology. So I really...
Oh, remember this? He says that the people suing Stavati are going to issue an apology. We just showed you the court documents. They're not apologizing for shit, David Wilcock. Either you're being lied to or you're making up lies. The person suing Stavati Aerospace is not apologizing. They're not entering into settlement talks. You got lied to.
An apology. So I really hope this doesn't drag on. I want to meet the alliance. I want to hang out with them.
He wants to meet his imaginary friends. He wants to hang out with his imaginary friends.
Work with them in person. I want to have the strength of that team around me, the fraternization with these other people, the brotherhood, the sisterhood. It really sucks doing this alone, and I'm glad that this is almost over. But you guys are what keep me alive. You guys are what keeps me going. Thank you.
Yeah, because the only money he gets is from his Dumb as Rocks audience. They are keeping him alive.
Thank you, David Nino Rodriguez, for hosting me. He's the only person who gives a crap about what I'm doing enough to invite.
Yeah, and David Nino Rodriguez is dumb as rocks. That's why he hosts you, because he's dumb as rocks, just like you, David Wilcock.
Me on the air.
All right, and we made it through, I believe. Yeah.
Somehow we managed to stay on the air.
Yeah. He managed to stay on the air another week. Wilcock's now backpedaled a little on his X account. When someone asked him about the May prediction, he says, no one knows the time. Is the Ascension event or whatever the sun is going to occur before Memorial Day this year? Last year on one of your live streams, you gave a deadline of Memorial Day 2025, but now you just say 2025. And he says, no one knows the hour nor the day. Well, you said you were predicting the future with the Archangel Michael. The most recent time loop data suggests about 6 months, and that would put us around June. So now it's June. He's kicking the can. He's just kicking the can.
Okay, well, how did you know that she was a man?
Because her hands were as big as Andre the Giant's.
Oh, and here we go. Wilcock is going to say that he wrote about USAID. Michael told him that Trump was going to take them down. He predicted it in 1999. So that's David Wilcock's very next stream, and that'll be coming tomorrow, which means we've got a show to do next week, at least one, covering his latest nonsense and lies, right? Musta Tasteless reminded me, for those unaware, you can buy subs on Kick now. And I'm going to check in with Kick, see if we got any purchased. Oh, no. I forgot on a PC that I haven't. I hope they let me in. Let's see. Oh, 1 second. Let's see if it's going to let me log in. It will. I'll log in. Okay. We're going to go over to the Kick channel. For those unaware, it's kick.com Truth Seeker Show. And let's see, the week's top gifters is Winter Soldier. Wow, look at that. Winter Soldier gifted 6 subs. Let's go. Glidesdale gifted 5 subs, and Morshoe gifted 1 sub. So we've got, and I want to thank Acid Reach, Morshoe, Boba1489, Clydesdale, and Winter Soldier, all for buying subs on Kick. We're getting paid on Kick.com. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Hallelujah. And thank you, Most Tasteless, for becoming a member over there. Frank Piro says, hopefully David doesn't stay on the air for much longer. Yeah, I mean, you know, how long can he go? But we are now into overtime. Well, we've done our due diligence on David Wilcock. Look at that, 2:05. I wanted to keep David Wilcock portion to 2 hours. So we hit our goal tonight. Maybe we'll do a stretch goal. No, I think we've praised the cash enough. I'm checking in here. We're going to do some overtime. I've got a very funny video, or at least I had. Did I lose it? Yes, I lost it. Let me see if I can find it in my history. I must have closed that tab. Secret space. Let me see if I can find it. No search result. Oh, gosh. It was a good one. It's a Cyborg. 1 second. Let's see if we got it. No. I'll see if I can find it. 1 second here. Cyborg. The fact that I have to search Cyborg, right? She's a cyborg. All right. Ghosted by the U.S. Army to keep secret space program and ancient Phoenician secrets. I don't know about that. Let's go through the videos here, and we'll see if we can find a shorter one. I don't want to do JP the helmet guy again because I want to save those for the wacky world of Wilcock. Oh, here we go. Recruited as a secret space program cyborg super soldier. Wait till you see this. Wait till you see this wackadoo, right? This is a pretty long video, though. This is an hour-and-a-half video. We're only going to do like 20 minutes of this because that's enough wackadoo, right? That's enough wackadoo for one night. But I need to take a pee break myself. But unlike David Wilcock, I can still pee in my house, which is awesome, right? He's got to pee outside. What the hell, dude? You make $258,000 a year? Is your bathroom broke? You got to pee outside? He said that he had to pee outside. I don't get it. I don't understand it at all. So we're going to take a short break. We have a musical guest tonight singing the fabulous song, David Wilcock and a Box of Dildos. And when we return, we're going to do our overtime bonus material. And we're going to be hearing from a recruited secret space program cyborg super soldier, a female super soldier, cyborg super soldier. Yeah, we're going to do that when we return. So please enjoy our musical guest singing the wonderful hit song, David Wilcock and a Box of Dildos. I'll be right back, friends.
David Wilcock got a secret stash hidden somewhere deep in his past. Whispers in the halls of fame, a box of dildos stealing names. Rumors spread like fiery smoke, hidden deep beneath the cloak. Voices silent in the dark, questions rise like a spark. David Wilcock in a box of dildos. Where was it hidden? No one really knows. David Wilcock in a box of dildos. Oh no, it's starting to show. Talking about the things we lost, secrets buried deep in the frost. What's the truth and what's the lie? No one's safe beneath the sky. Echoes in the dead of night, cast your shadows in the light. Where's the truth behind these walls? Broken silence as it falls. David Wilcock in a box of the truth and what's the lie? No one's safe beneath the sky. Echoes in the dead of night, cast your shadows in the light. Where's the truth behind these walls? Broken silence as it falls. David Wilcock in a box of dildos. Where was it hidden? No one really knows. David Wilcock in a box of dildos. Oh no, it's starting to show.
Okay, greetings. We're back. And I didn't have to pee outside like David Wilcock. I don't understand that. He's living in a $2 million mansion, but he can't get his bathroom fixed. Maybe he takes huge dumps. That's the only thing I could think. Like maybe he blew out all 3 toilets in his house. Now he has to do his business outside. And if that's the case, that's pretty sad, right? $258,000 is not enough money to hire a plumber, you know. Old Nosy with a kind and generous $2 says, more, bitch. Yeah, we're going to give you more. Fat Chick Thriller, goal to watch it all, $500 super chat, and I'll watch the whole thing. But we're going to be here forever. I figured that would put me halfway to the new PC goal. Wilcock is clog maxing, says Old Nosy. This is crazy, right? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right, so thank you, Old Nosy. Gabber Beast TV is here. Imagine your shock when you look back and see the selfies David Wilcock took riding those dildos while having a urine bath to gain superpowers and super soldier powers. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put my fair use banner up. I don't know how much of this we're going to get through. This is going to be a slog. This is the wackadoo slop that we bring you for the bonus. Let's get into it. This lady seems completely insane, so it's perfect, right? It's perfect for us anyway. We'll make it big there. All right. So this lady was recruited as a secret space program cyborg super soldier. I don't want to get past the music.
Served for 20 years as a cyborg.
We'll get it, back it up a little bit here.
And a German mother.
All right, whatever. So professional. Exopolitics today. Looks like graphics made on a Windows 95 computer.
Rebecca Rose was born in 1972 to a naval aeronautical engineer father and a German mother. She was recruited into a German dark fleet, or Nachtwaffen, when she was only 4 years old by her father, who signed papers in the presence of 2 grey extraterrestrials.
Wait a minute, already. Jesus Christ, holy shit. There's already like too much conspiracy overload going on here. He just said that she was recruited at 4 years old into the German Luftwaffe secret space program, I guess the Nazi secret space program, and then her father had to sign papers in front of 2 aliens, extraterrestrials, gray aliens. This is getting crazy already. We're 23 seconds in.
And also signed off on her brother joining.
Her brother was in the same secret space program.
The Dark Fleet. At age 9, she began a 20 and back.
By the way, the term Dark Fleet was invented by Corey Goode. Corey Goode admitted under oath in his deposition that he made up the term Dark Fleet. So here we see somebody else using that term after Corey Goode, and Dark Fleet is fiction. Just putting that out there. It's fiction, Michael Sala.
Where she served for 20 years as a cyborg super soldier, first on Mars and then later in the outer reaches of our solar system. Where
she did a 20 and back, and she's a cyborg super soldier. This is so stupid. Can she show us her robot parts, Michael Sala?
It was based on the Cooper Belt facility run by Draco reptilians.
Oh,
In this
reptilian
interview, she
aliens.
shares more memories and documents of her service along with that of her brother.
You're listening to
Oh, gosh.
Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael
This
Sala.
guy's a doctor, friends. How does a doctor sit on a YouTube video with a straight face and say, our guest today was a cyborg super soldier who served with the reptilian Draco aliens?
Your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Sala.
It's Dr. Michael Sala.
Welcome back, Rebecca, to Exopolitics Today.
All right, already. Look, I don't really like to comment negatively on somebody's appearance, especially a female, but this girl did a 20 and back. It looks like she was doing 20 and back while smoking crack the whole time. She looks like a haggard crackhead that you would meet in Kensington. This is not good. It's all right. She didn't even say a word yet. It already doesn't look good, friends. That chick thriller, we love to slop, right? Oh, man. Almost 200 likes. Can we hit it? Yes. Let's get some likes on the video. If you haven't already, please do like and share these videos on your social media. It really does help. I don't know, man. This is not looking good. And here's where I start getting upset, because at some point, this guy's a doctor. He's very well educated. Shouldn't he be able to notice like somebody doesn't look right? Like maybe this girl has mental problems and not exploit her to make money?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, it was here or spend the night on the corner, turning tricks. So here I am.
Yeah.
Well, we did an interview back in 2022 where we went over some of your experiences and you shared some of the documentation about your father and how you were inducted into.
Oh, by the way, Michael Sala lives in $1 million house in Hawaii. I'm just putting that out there. So that might have something to do with his willingness to platform complete and total wackadoos to make money.
The secret space program. But since that time, you've recovered more memories, you've found more documents. So I thought this would be a great way for us.
It's always, this is always the scenario. Like, they give an interview and they tell their story. She gave an interview and told her story to him 2 years ago, but now he needs guests. So suddenly she recovered more memories of her time serving in the secret space program.
To kind of cover the update to your experiences,
the 20 and crack program,
and
yes.
new documents,
20 and crack,
and then go over anything else
bald.
That you think might be relevant to people trying to follow your story.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, where do we start?
Well, I think a really interesting
Yeah.
discovery you made was that we know your father served in the US Navy. He served with a company that was later incorporated by
we ought to do
Lockheed Martin.
That chick thriller. We ought to do that.
Now, maybe you should just kind of give a brief summary of what it was that your father did
of a crazy person.
And his kind of like importance to the programs.
Yeah, I always feel like it kind of does start with him, because without his connections to, he was subcontracting with NASA and the CIA through Lockheed. So he was working with a top secret clearance and all of that. I don't know how many levels of top secret. He said he had a lot of access to sensitive compartmented information.
Sensitive
and he over time he was working with naval intelligence, cryptography, and these things. But he was in research and development. He was creating all kinds of different things related to satellite technology, the very early satellite technology.
All right, I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought she's speaking at least intelligently. She sounds like she's speaking coherently. So what's that about, right? Maybe she's not crazy. But you'd have to be to tell people that you're a cyborg super soldier. Jack Dittman, he sounds like he's from Western Sydney, specifically Bankstown. She looks like most women from there, to be honest. He's probably just nostalgic for home. Well, thank you for the kindness, generosity, and support. We appreciate it. Let's keep going with the bonus material.
And I don't 100% know because, frankly, I didn't know until about a month before he died that he was actually working deeply in the classified world. He only revealed these things to me on his deathbed. Yeah.
Now, you did find a document
there's a
from
plot hole
1973.
There's a plot hole already because she said that he signed her up for the secret space program when she was 4. Now she says she didn't find out he was working on classified projects until a month before he died. Plot hole.
Where it talks about, it's a company, this Saunders document, and that referred to your father working with the Special Programs Division in 1973, and this company Saunders was eventually merged.
You really
into
want to
Lockheed.
make me suffer like that?
So yeah, can you just show document number 3, Jazz? So yeah, you want to tell us about this document and the Special Programs Division your father worked in?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm seeing that. He was always being given like accolades and being recognized for his contributions in his
all right, her father apparently worked for some Special Programs Division, but this is a private company. S.A. Sanders, that's a company. It's a private company.
Inventions, and he always said they got a lot of patents out of me. I don't know who they was, mostly Lockheed and the Navy. I'm not sure. So yeah, he was definitely
weird stories by Oki.
He was a brilliant mind. He was certainly a brilliant mind. I would say that for him. Yeah.
Let me read out that document.
Why want to make me suffer?
It's a little faint. It was just a screenshot.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that on my screen. Yeah,
I'll read it out.
Steve, slow it down.
This.
We'll do it. We'll do it. We have to keep that chick drillers dropping the dodo
appreciation
bomb.
is presented.
What's with
this
these crazies
token of sincere appreciation is presented
it's like
to
the
David
female
Barfoot
Wilcock.
by Sanders Associates.
Thank you for your super chat, Detective.
For his for recognition.
She worked for Colonel Sanders
of effort. And
I have no idea how old she is.
Contribution into the success of BRD7 program, Special Programs Division, and then you have a signature and all of that. So he was working on special programs
for a private company.
Now we could
a lot of private companies may have something called a Special Programs Division. It doesn't mean he was working for classified or knew anything about aliens or was in a secret space program, or was he the guy that turned his daughter into a cyborg super soldier? I don't know.
Question: what were the special programs? No idea. I mean, I actually have no idea what that the alphanumeric value what the project was, but he was definitely an inventor who would get a budget and create what they needed over time. And I also believe he had some help from extraterrestrial sources. I'd asked him about that before he died.
Oh, the aliens helped him with the special Sure.
I said, were you getting help from up there? And he kind of laughed and chuckled and he looked away and he said, yeah, maybe. I don't know. And I also don't know to what extent, the deeper you go into that world, the more you are subject to certain kinds of, I believe, mind control. They own you. They owned him, and by extension, they owned his family, which is why I ended up where I did. But I don't know to what extent he was really aware, clear.
Yeah, look, I just want to stop for a minute and say, would you be considered a good father for forcing both of your children into a dangerous secret program where they had to become cyborg super soldiers and fight reptilian aliens? Another plot hole.
Really conscious of what he was involved in or what he was doing at a certain point. And at some point as well, he had developed a pretty bad alcohol addiction. And, through the haze of that, merged with...
You got to be drunk to work with the aliens.
With work and all of, all the things we've talked about. We can wonder how clear his mind was toward the end of all that. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I was intrigued by, and maybe you just can confirm this, was that you found out that your father had an abduction experience involving grey ETs in 1959.
Oh, he was abducted in 1959. I don't really want to do this, but we're going to do it. Half speed for Fat Chick Thriller. You better drop some more donos, Fat Chick Thriller. You're going to make me suffer through this at half speed.
And that this somehow augmented his intelligence and kickstarted his psychic abilities. Is that right?
That was psychic. That's why.
I believe it's 52.
Going on 40.
Yeah, and this is interesting. The reason that there was a lot of evidence, over time through his journals, through his relay of stories of flying and connecting with other beings throughout his childhood and throughout his adult life. That helped me understand that he had some kind of contact. But I had been heavily, I had been asking my guides, my team, the wider universe for information on this.
Oh, I didn't know that, Craig Williams.
His experience.
And, he was a cute card guy too.
As during the days and weeks when I was really probing that,
she was probing that
spiritually, psychically. I had an experience at night that I knew was really his experience. We were deeply wed, very like two peas in a...
All right, we've seen what these both sound like drunk. Let's see what they both sound like as tweakers, right? We're going to make them go 1.5 speed. We'll see what they sound like tweaking. Or wait, yeah, we'll try that first.
In a lot of ways, as souls in some way. I had an experience of coming down into my body after being taken out. This was just a few years back,
This sounds more appropriate, Fat Chick Thriller, like a tweaker, right? Like she just did like 1/2 pound of crystal meth, right? And she's ready to tell her story.
It's his death, and it was like almost crash landing back into my physical form in bed at night.
Okay.
It was very jarring, really kind of frightening. I knew I'd gone somewhere and come back, but I think this was his experience. All I could think of as I lie there in bed trying to get my breath that night in the wee hours of the morning was the DC flyover in 52. I know my father was taken during that time. He was also almost 10 years old.
She looks a lot like Megamind.
So that's an interesting corollary. When I was taken as well, the same time, just before I turned 10, and he was thereabouts the same era of his own life.
Regular speed for her, Fat Chick Thriller.
Introducing the new Ego Power.
Oh, stupid commercials. Hold on.
In 1952 and the DC flyover?
I feel like it was a time when there was a lot of, not just stuff going on in the news, but stuff going on in our
it's much better
atmosphere, in our world at that point. It feels like we had a lot of contact experiences going on. Roswell, late 40s, early 50s.
Imagine just tuning in. Not knowing.
I feel like it marked a new era. There was a lot of, I think the Greys had a lot of interest in what was going on with us at that point as well. So
interesting.
You know better than I do, but that's how I understood it was very psychically. The information came in very psychically and also very viscerally and intuitively and spontaneously about his experience. Yeah.
Okay, so your father has a military background, an abduction experience early on. Now, what I found fascinating was that your mother also was recruited into the U.S. Army in 1962. I mean, this is a time when I don't think women were kind of like serving in the military, but here your mother is serving, and she had a German background. So why do you think she was recruited into the Army?
Yeah, right. So, and I believe it was, she went right after high school, was born in 37. So it would have been the late 50s. Anyway, it doesn't matter. My parents met in the military, Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. They were married in 65. They met they had known each other only a month. So this is a highly unusual union because they had really, I don't recognize them as having anything in common. And from this, I understand too that she served as a really good breeder for my lab kids. They had my father's, what's going to happen with him through the deep state, military industrial complex, the Navy, and so on, the alphabet agencies, and his working top secret with my mother's genetic inheritance, with the Germans. Like, to me, it seemed that the Germans in Nachmuffin, they don't mind having more Germans around. And also within my mother's bloodline, I think maybe I spoke briefly to this in the first interview we did, there was some dark ritual abuse and black magician type of energy running through the generations preceding her.
Aliens,
coming down in her family and everything like that.
cyborgs. This
This
story's
is not
got
the prettiest side of
everything.
my biography, but gave us the dark reptilian in the bloodline, which I later transmuted. Beautiful story there, but I think that was part of the allure. Why this pairing? What is going to be great about this? So my mother, to my knowledge, did not have any contact experiences. However, she was highly dissociative and had a what we could call as a dissociative identity disorder, split personality. Yeah.
Well, that would make kind of sense from the perspective of.
All right. Well, now this is starting to make sense. She said that her mother had multiple personality disorder. And for those unaware, that can sometimes be genetically related. In other words, if your mother has dissociative disorder, they used to call it multiple personality disorder, you might have that affliction as well. So maybe this woman has dissociative identity disorder, and one of her alters is the super soldier, right? And this is a lot of trauma causes this.
What a lot of researchers have said, that there was a Fourth
Allegedly.
Reich that was established in the 1950s after the 1952 flyover agreements were reached between this kind of breakaway Antarctic German colony and the US military and the US government.
Michael Sala loves all the fake Nazi UFO stories. They're all fake.
And that,
with the possible exception of the Nazi bell.
So you had a lot of Project Paperclip scientists being promoted into senior positions, that having these breeding programs where you would have German women marrying say American servicemen or Americans with certain abilities and talents that destined that they would probably be very significant for the space programs.
A Nazi breeding program for the space program. Okay.
That would happen. So yeah, that kind of like makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you for the reflection. I mean, as I put all this together over time, I receive a lot intuitively and linking these things up as it comes psychically and through memory and through various internal means, through meditation and all of this. So I kind of appreciate.
Oh, she meditates this shit up? That makes more sense then.
Yeah, your eyes on the situation, and you have so much research and background knowledge around all of this. Yeah, it's actually helpful to me.
Right. So your father's he served with the U.S. Navy. He served with this company.
I didn't
Sanders.
know that, Sparky. That's sad.
Now, in 1983, he gets an honorable discharge from the Navy,
still makes no
and that was
sense.
only a year after you were brought into the program, after he signed you over. So I guess the question is,
My mama also fought for Hitler
after he
against
signed
the
you
Blue
and your
Chickens.
brother into this Dark Fleet program. I guess he left the Navy, and then he goes into Sanders, this company Sanders, which eventually gets merged into Lockheed Martin. So that was a sign that
you got to throw Lockheed Martin in there. You got to throw Lockheed Martin in there if you're going to talk about the secret space program. Old Nosy gifted 1 Truth Seekers membership, and Buffalo Spunks. I'm very happy to see that. Buffalo Spunks, longtime show supporter, got a free membership gifted by Old Nosy. This is why you should smash that subscribe button, because when people, kind and generous people like Old Nosy, gift a free membership, they get randomly distributed. Jessica is here. Says, dude, you're always years ahead of the UFO news, and I love seeing it, knowing I have always backed the thoroughbred. Jessica, go kick rocks. So good to see you. Longtime show supporter. Jessica, go kick rocks. I have to DM you on Twitter. I still want to do that Twitter Spaces thing with you. So message me or I'll message you. We should talk about that, and we should actually get it going. The problem has been that I have to figure out how to do the spaces and do it on my YouTube channel as well. But I just saw Darcy Weir and somebody else doing that, so it has to be possible. I just don't know how to broadcast the Twitter Spaces to my YouTube channel and Kick channel and Twitter and all that. Well, I guess Twitter's covered with just the space, but we'll figure it out. Thank you, Jessica, for your kindness, generosity, and support. Another one, praise the cash, says Fat Chick Thriller. The winning is endless. All right, so far, her mother's crazy. Her father was in the Navy, and I want to know how she became a cyborg super soldier, though. Like, this background is just, fluff for the story. Like, how do you become a cyborg super soldier sent to fight reptilian Dracos in deep space?
He's going from military service, and now he's going to be a corporate contractor, and he's going to be involved in monitoring these programs, which you and his son as well are involved.
So just a little correction on the dates again. I think the chronology is,
Crazy
I was taken in 82.
Absolutely.
So at that point, he'd started working with the Naval Intelligence late 70s, 77, 78 or so. In tandem with Naval Reserve. He'd come out of the Army in the 60s where he met my mom. So the
More
Navy,
money was made in
pieced
the
him
stream
together.
than
But he'd been
had
working with
spent on
Sanders, which then became Lockheed. He was
Cortez
there
while in
for
exile.
over 20 years,
Yes.
within that company. Yeah.
Suffolk.
So essentially then, the whole time where you were serving in a 20 and back program, your father was working for Sanders / Lockheed Martin in special projects.
Yes, all the way through that, and it was shocking to me to find that out. Like my jaw fell to the floor, and I felt like I needed to lie down. And I was like blinking this up, like, wow, I had no idea. I feel so stupid that I didn't realize that at the time. I was a kid, and then those guys are trained to be completely mom. Like he was the kind of guy who you wouldn't know a thing about what he was doing at work or where he traveled all the time. I never knew where he was headed or what he was involved in, and to have that so deeply hidden right in front. As we say, the truth is right in plain sight, but you just don't see it. Right, it's right there. It was a little bit shocking.
Stormcrow says he believe her more if she had some more copper.
22 grams of protein.
Oh, come on. God damn it. I gotta stop being lazy and start mirroring these things when I share them, so we don't have to go through that. I apologize. Stormcrow says, I might believe her more if she wore some more copper. Yeah, she needs copper. B says, steal enough copper and you too can become a super soldier. I wonder if her cyborg parts are made out of copper like that weird dude, right? Thank you for your service, Nazi Space Cyborg 07. This is so stupid. Yo, and you want to know what's really stupid? Look, I got to struggle for views. Look at this shit. He got 22,000 views on this. That's pretty low, actually.
Important that we kind of emphasize this, because people are always saying, well, where's the proof? Where's the proof for these people claiming to be in secret space programs doing 20 and backs? And that in your case, you found out that you were signed over to this kind of Dark Fleet Nuckwaffen program. And that when you began service in, I guess, 1982...
What kind of father signs their 4-year-old daughter over?
Your father was in the process of being discharged from the Navy and going to work in a company called Sanders that was merged into Lockheed Martin, and he worked on special projects. To me, that's evidence that he not only signed you over, but he was probably involved in monitoring your progress and your brother's progress.
No, this is false equivocation. Just even if he did work at Lockheed Martin in secret projects, that's not proof that he signed his daughter over to a secret space program. He just said that's proof. That's not proof. It's two separate things. It's false equivocation.
Mm-hmm. That potential is certainly there, isn't it? It's a little painful to look at, but yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this takes us to a handwritten note by your father where he's discussing neurological processes and psychic abilities. So,
yes. Yeah. That note, again, I was kind of floored when I found this, because there's a cryptic kind of quality to Dad always wrote with a mechanical pencil like an engineer would. That's what he was. And he left all these notes behind on backs of envelopes and old napkins and, this kind of thing where he's hashing things out. Why he saved that, I found these things going through his stuff after he passed away, was like, what is this? This is connected to sending and receiving telepathic.
This is kind of stupid. Like, I'm going to go on the internet and tell everybody I'm a cyborg super soldier. So I got to go through all my dad's crap and use that as evidence of my fake stories.
Information, implantation in the brain and these things. Like, wow, I don't even know. I look at that and it's like it's written in another, granted, I'm not an engineer. I don't have an engineer's mind, but it was striking to me what I could intuit from the script, from what he had left. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like some kind of relevance to mind control of masses is what my awareness kind of locks into on that note. Yeah.
Well, what I see from this note is a connection between the kind of abilities you described you had and excelled at in the secret space program. These psychic abilities that you had.
Oh, she's got psychic superpowers. So far, she's a cyborg, super soldier, and a psychic. All three of those. And her dad was abducted by aliens.
Had those, and that your father is showing evidence here that he's a specialist in these kinds of kind of like advanced abilities, psychokinesis and so forth, and that he's working at that time on special projects for Sanders / Lockheed, and so that kind of supports that in some way he was aware of what you were doing and monitoring that.
Again, false equivocation. One of these things is not like the other. Boy, they're reaching. Well, we've got evidence. He wrote a note about psychic stuff before he croaked.
Yeah. And I feel, as we're speaking to this, again, not like the prettiest part of my family history, but my father's alcoholism didn't start until I returned from the 20 back when I was 10 years old. Like that's when things became, bad with alcohol and got progressive.
She went and did a 20 and back and fought aliens in space when she was 10 years old?
worse. And I can't help but think, what was he trying to escape from? What, guilt, remorse, suffering internally? What knowing, did he have that he was trying to what demons was he nursing and trying to keep at bay? We can guess, I suppose.
Oh, geez.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So the alcoholism began when you ended your 20 and back program around 2002. Is that right?
No, I mean, I conceive of the program being kind of exiting stage left. So, I'm taking in.
Old Nosy with a kind and generous $2 super chat says, how can you lie about your family like this? Well, they need some kind of evidence, they need some kind of evidence. Archduke Instinct said, I fought them blue chickens, trademark Corey Good, on Mars and Jupiter, and they bit my nose and chin off, but they gave me cybernetic ones, and they painted them perfectly with my skin tone. Yeah, we're probably getting into that, yes. What were you doing at 10 years old? Playing Legos? Bah! Yeah, she's got me beat. She was fighting Draco reptilian aliens in space at 10 years old. And, every once in a while is where you get to a point where, like, do they even stop and think about, like, how stupid their story is? Why would a top secret government project send a 10-year-old into space to fight Draco reptilian aliens? Does that sound like that even makes sense? These people need better writers.
82, and I feel like I also come back in 82, though I've been gone 20 years at that point. But the drinking was when I was in chronologically, I'm 10 years old in 82, and that's when that started. So if that makes sense.
Okay, so
yeah.
I guess the excessive drinking, you think that might have been to hide your guilt?
So connected to, I think, everything that was going on in the classified world. Like once you're in this deep, you can't go back. There's no door to go anywhere but deeper down in.
You can't go back.
I looked through his papers and found him applying for other work later after this had all ended with Lockheed and the Navy and these things. And he had said, as a memo to an employer, anything that's not connected to military intelligence in the classified world was what he wanted in his job. Like, I don't care what it is. I don't want to do this anymore.
The kick chat is really wild. We've got Winter Soldiers. I'm going to give her a computer virus and a big case of malware. Stop, Steve. Crazy in the head, crazy in the bed. And Winter Soldier says, score. Cyborg robo pussy with daddy issues. Cyborg robo vagina. Maybe she's got a cyborg vagina. You don't know how many parts they replaced on her. They could have had to replace them in JJ. What if she got shot or a reptilian bit her in the vajayjay, right? Escapism equals super soldier. Yeah, you could be right.
So we can see from that he wants out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Now, one of the kind of pieces of new information that you've gotten since our last talk was you were able to correspond with your brother and find out about him also having an abduction experience and also being involved in a gifted children program. So yeah, you want to.
Okay, so now she's going to tell secondhand stories from her brother, which we don't even know if she has a brother. This is getting stupider and stupider.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, again, you're honing in on all my jaw-dropping moments. So my brother now, we're in touch. We have a decent relationship, but he's not somebody who wants to go back and talk about ETs and all of that. I don't think he considers himself much of a believer, even though he spent his entire childhood reading sci-fi and drawing aliens and spaceships. But I had probed him on, his drawings and these things and shared a little bit, just, kind of trying to see if there was a place where we could begin to talk about this. I'd said, a little bit about my experience, shared some ET drawings of mine from my adult life now. And he said, yeah, I had experiences where I was mute and trying to, I couldn't move. I was paralyzed and I felt like I was in this dream I was having. I was being lifted out through the top of the house. This has happened on a few occasions. And he kind of dismissed it as just, this is a dream. I said, were there any extraterrestrials? He's like, I don't know if I believe in that. And there the conversation ended. But I think in you've seen probably the documentation of the screenshots that I took, or the dialogue with my brother going back and forth through the text messages and him saying, do you remember when they tested us for ESP, as we called it back in the 70s, when we were in the gifted program? I'm like, I don't remember that, but glad you do. So he has some, he's so innocent.
So she doesn't even remember any parts of her story. And she's just filling in the blanks with stuff her brother told her, right? Is she calling her dentures a cybernetic implant or what? What part of her is cyborg? I know. I'm anxious to hear
too, and how he brings these things up because he doesn't know. I'm kind of data mining him a little bit, or looking for a little more juice to the story. Yeah.
Okay, so here he describes in this text message. Do you want to read it out, or should I read it out for you?
Yeah, read that out. Read that out.
Okay, so I'll read it out. This is what he replied. You obviously asked him a question about aliens, and he said, quote, "No aliens that I recall, though the very real feeling, dreaming, or floating up out of my bed."
Even her brother saying maybe he was dreaming, but this is evidence to these people.
lights on but dim, in my childhood was recurrent and incredibly vivid. I would ascend to about 5 feet above the floor, listening to mum and dad watching TV in the living room, or perhaps in late night silence, and move as though pulled by an unseen hand out of my room, down the hallway and up, never but through a door. I was always terrified, trying to shout but unable to find breath. The dreams were not long, and I often would remember little else until I would shout long and loud.
He's saying that these were dreams. These aren't real experiences if they're dreams, Michael Sala. You don't have to be a doctor to figure out that a dream is not a reality-driven experience.
Enough in the dream to actually wake up, ramping up a gurgle or loud sigh into a scream, very suddenly, strange, repetitive, but no aliens. What do you make of that?
Sub on Kick. All right.
Yeah, well, that's an abduction if there ever was one. I mean, that's exactly. That was in the other room experiencing the same thing. So I was shocked, and in a way, Michael, kind of relieved to read this because, like, it's sort of corroborated my experience. And to be frank, you know, with all of this, sometimes I have a little part of me that's like, none of this is possibly able to be true. None of it's. I'm just going to sweep it off into the dustbin in the corner, and that's going to be bad. You know, like I have a part of me that just wants to live a normal life and have all of this stuff be wrong.
Wait a minute,
however, and that's like a really honest answer, but it helped me kind of give credence to my own story in a way, which I need.
Yeah,
so
her brother having dreams lent credence to her story. And we have Soviet Tankista has subscribed. They have been subscribed for a total of 1 month. So somebody bought a sub, Soviet Tankista, and I'll get better at incorporating the Kick subs into our show here. Thank you for the gifted. Thank you for becoming a subscriber. We appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us. Kick.com/Truth Seeker Show.
I was, and this, remember, it's like we haven't talked. I don't know if he's found my videos online or been to my website or is aware of something called the SSP. I don't think that's in his mind. So this is coming from a really innocent place. I don't think he knows that I do interviews like this online and so on and so on. So it's trustworthy information without front loading.
Her brother having dreams is trustworthy information.
But it makes sense that. I mean, you had your abduction experiences. I mean, you were 4 years old. You remembered being abducted, and that your brother was also being abducted. And of course, your parents are deeply involved in this as well, with your father being abducted more than 20 years earlier.
Yeah. Yes. And this has fascinated me for a long time. That you know, it feels to me that these things can run in families, like psychic ability and contact experiences, and the up-leveling of consciousness that goes on in the.
Well, if a family's got a bunch of lunatics in the family, sure.
The deeper involvement with the unseen world, multidimensional reality, kind of runs in families. That's my impression. I don't know if that's entirely true, but I'm fascinated when it does. And like, wow, what a you know, because we could look at the deeper journey of the soul and what are we trying to accomplish with all of this, for humanity.
Now, remember, there was this series called Taken that Steven Spielberg, he was the executive producer, and it described the abduction phenomenon along the lines of this kind of intergenerational process. And it seems like your family is a good example of that.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but that makes me curious about it. Yeah, I know it's out there.
They take advantage of traumatized people to tell these fake stories.
It's incredible to me, really amazing.
Yeah, praise the cat.
Okay, so your brother's experience kind of like is more corroboration for your own abduction experience, and also you talk about being in a gifted children's program, and your brother was also in a similar program.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
again,
that.
Here's a screenshot from your conversation with him, and so I'll read it out again. So this is what your brother says to you. I recall being in the gifted program Odyssey of the Mind, getting out of classes in grade school to learn things like speed reading and ESP. I think my scores were higher as a sender rather than a receiver. Sometimes packs of cards were used, and we were paired and repaired to just send this suit, later to send or receive specific cards. Yeah, you want to talk about that and your knowledge of
that?
Okay, so her brother was psychic. Her father was abducted by aliens and was also a drunk. And she fought Draco reptilian aliens in space at 10 years old, and her brother and her are both psychic, in case you're keeping score of the crazy.
Right. So I don't remember verbatim what he remembers from that. We were both in the gifted program. However, he was 4 years older, so we might not have been exactly in the same classroom at the same time as he got older.
She looks like a zombie extra from The Walking Dead.
On how I remember going on field trips from the elementary school that I was at.
7 likes away from 200. Let's go. Hit that like button.
It's like some kind of testing. It wasn't ESP testing, but a lot of things that involved.
Good point.
What did they involve?
This is a good point.
I can't even explain.
This is a very good point, but this is where logic gets in the way. Pathfinder correctly pointing out, can she back this up with medical reports that she's a cyborg? Show us proof for F's sake. Yeah, it's you would think that she could show us her cyborg parts and then we'd believe her, but so far we're almost a half hour in. She hasn't shown us her superpowers or her cyborg parts.
Explain exactly, but they were looking to test our attributes. However, this seemed like it was something hypnotic that's going on underground, like almost going to an underground base, like going from the bus to somewhere else and then having amnesia about what would happen there and traveling with only a very small group of kids. And I don't know that he was there with that with me for that.
Like a cyborg.
I don't.
Secret to
Yeah,
everything,
my memory is not
really
super clear about whether he was there, but there was they're looking at cognition and what you can. I think it was a little psychic testing, a little different than the sending and receiving he's describing. But similarly, how far out can you go, and how can we take your mind in a way through hypnotic suggestion or other means? Maybe we're going to introduce some trauma to see if you dissociate, and so on. Remember the let's see, the template coming in with my mother particularly would give me a high propensity to be very, very dissociative in my, just like, hey, there's trauma happening that started when I was really young, and so my front personality would just kind of leave, and I could be more easily manipulated. And I think they were also looking at that part of my the makeup of my mind. Yeah.
Oh, well, at least she admits here that, her mother had multiple personality disorders, and that predisposes her to maybe having multiple personality disorder. A little bit of logic in there with the crazy. Let's go back here. We'll get it back. Oh, my lights went out. We've been here so long. One of my lights went off. They're on timers. There we go. Get that light back on. Yeah, the cyborg snatch can bite off your pecker, says Trolly Troll Troll. Yeah, at what point is this just not taking advantage of mentally ill people for profit? I think so. I mean, she's talking about having a history of mental illness in her family. Her father was an alcoholic. Her mother was crazy.
To that, about how this kind of MK Ultra mind programming works, where they create alter personalities that can kind of be brought in at any time just with a trigger word, and how that was used in the programs, especially during the training of children recruited in. I mean, you were 4 years old when you were first recruited, and from 4 to about age, I guess 9 or 10, you are trained, and so the MK Ultra is a part of that training. So, yeah, can you talk about that?
Yeah, wow. They're looking, when we can look at a selection process, like why do people end up in the SSP? One of the things they want is kids who are already pretty highly dissociative. I mean, they can abuse people through trauma and various means to create that. But if the kid has already come in with a really high capacity to do that, I guess I've said this already, like that's a gold mine for the people who run the agencies that run these programs, and also the ETs that they're in connection with, is basically become an empty shell. Now, whether that's through the trauma in my family with dark ritual abuse, or what was done to me later I was taken into, actually Montauk was one of the primary places I was programmed this was a little later when I was 7.
Okay, so now she's a Montauk person too. So this is like a cornucopia of all these different conspiracy theories.
When I was working for Muffin, I was taken to the moon earlier, and it was more light duty gigs. And in order to send me
going to the moon is a light duty gig.
The 20 back, they would have had to do a little more trauma-based mind control, to create the super soldier that they were looking to build out in me, psychic super soldier, and that would happen slowly over time. So with that,
so she's a psychic cyborg super soldier.
They'll do a lot of sensory deprivation, sexual depravity, and a lot of keeping you in isolation in cold and dark situations. Cold, very, very cold, insufficient food, no nurturing. So whoever would come in as a programmer to kind of do dark deeds to you, you would bond with them in a very deviant, inverted way, because you would think that they were a savior. So you'd be learning to bond with those who would be
this is getting dark.
Programmers, handlers, perpetrators, victimizers in some way, and you would be subservient to them. I remember kind of learning this with the dark nature of my mom. Just give yourself over to the person who's doing this, because it's going to make your life easier. Don't resist, just be compliant. That's what they want. I absolutely look for that. At least that's how I understand my own kind of trajectory into the programs. Why did it look like it did? And what did I have that they might have wanted? And how did they build that out? They take the template that's already there, and then they can work it. They can, really work it to their advantage.
So in 1982, you're about 9 years old, almost 10, and you begin your 20 and back program.
Oh, it's getting to the good stuff. Now we're going to hear about her space adventures. Old Nosy with a kind and generous $5 says, I would destroy this cyborg space warrior in a fight. I believe that, Old Nosy. What's funny is most of these people claim that they're super soldiers. They look like, most of the people that claim to be super soldiers look like they would lose a fight to like a skinny crackhead in the hood, right? 20 and back is a trademark. Yeah, that's Corey Good trademark. She's not allowed to say that. He trademarked that term.
As per the agreement that was reached between your father and these grey extraterrestrials. So you're taken to Mars, and was it the mantids, the mantid beings that you first were kind of exposed to?
Oh, the first alien she was exposed to is the mantid insectoid aliens.
On Mars. So you want to tell us, what happened when you're taken to Mars?
This was on Mars.
And the mantid beings and the
Yeah, wow. So before I went to Mars, I was twinned at Great Lakes Naval Station, north of Chicago. I was twinned with a little boy named Dean, who's the same age, and we were both sent to Mars. And we kind of went on to train together in a way, psychically being trained to work telekinetically, eventually to bond and wed our minds with machines that we would pilot or navigate in some way. We trained to be over time pilots who could interface consciousness with the craft, the consciousness of the craft, so we could do what
she could fly the spaceship with her mind. Now it's getting good.
We needed to do on patrol as soldiers. So the mantids I remember a lot of human interactions there, more specifically than ET, at least at the base. There was a lot of human, like more military interactions there. The mantids I remember as our surgeons and our techs and our mechanics and things, because they're so adept at fine-tune, refined detail work. They're masters of frequency healing and sound vibration. They're very sensitive to all kinds of like the fine-tuned detail work. So I remember waking up at one point in the trajectory.
Why don't they ever show them
two of them over me,
take over
looking
Earth?
at each other, and the look they gave them each other, and to me was like, oh, I hope we didn't mess it up. Did this work? Like as if they were wondering if their latest augmentation was going to be okay. I mean, I say that sort of jokingly, but let's have a little levity inside of the story if we can. Yeah. And I do remember us having instructions over the years. We're trained to view the mantis and natives as sort of target practice, which is really sad. The native mantis on Mars really, they didn't have, at least in my memory in our interactions with them, didn't have anything. They were happy to share territory as long as we left them alone, but we wouldn't leave them alone. So there's a lot of there's a lot of story there with the mantis over time, but maybe that gives a little soundbite of what that looked like.
It's very interesting that you mentioned the Great Lakes Naval Station, because as I recall, that was also where Michael Ralph, who really was the first secret space program whistleblower who came forward in the year 2000, that he was taken. And he says he began his 20 back from 1976 to 1996, which meant that his time on Mars overlapped with yours.
Far out. You may have watched an interview recently that I did, and the interviewers had mentioned Ralph, and I had and the Great Lakes Naval Station. I said I had no idea that anybody. I don't look at a lot of stuff. I don't read a lot of stuff because I don't want to be front-loaded. So I keep a lot of things, like maybe more than I should. I keep them at bay and don't do a lot of research. So it was actually really helpful and corroborative to understand or learn that somebody else had been taken from that underground straight to Mars. That was my experience, and again, a little point of validation, I suppose. Thank you for reminding me of that with Ralph. I mean, you're right, like such an early testimony whistleblower.
Yeah, and he also said that when he was taken to Mars, he was trained to be a psychic and also a pilot. So he was a psychic pilot, and his psychic abilities, he said, were very highly developed. It wasn't
to people like Dr. Michael Salla. Somebody saying a crazy story about being in the secret space program and going to Mars is proof that this girl who's saying she was in the secret space program and went to Mars, it's proof they're both telling the truth, because two wackadoos telling the same story is proof somehow. This is called the wackadoo prover maneuver. You take one wackadoo who has no proof, you bring in another wackadoo who has no proof, but a similar story, and you call that evidence.
It wasn't just remote viewing and remote sensing, remote influencing, but it was also a psychic assassination. And he said that part of his work involved assassinating these reptilians on Mars. So it sounds there's similarities to what you described about your service.
Yeah, wow. It does make me curious to breach the boundaries of my own limitations and maybe check out his story a little bit. But yes, did he have interactions with the native reptilian race? Not because I don't think you're talking about Draco, are you?
As far as I recall.
Oh, geez. Now they're going to talk about what aliens are we talking about? Jack Dipman with a kind of generous $5 Australian. I never knew Procedure 110 Montauk was based on her life. Well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. But thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, he was talking about the Draco, the reptilians. That he was like, he was trying to use his abilities against them.
Okay. Yeah.
The Ralpha male is a whistleblower. Yeah.
So kind of another point of corroboration there.
The rage.
So the mantids, you mentioned them, and you mentioned the kind of target practice that the military forces there on Mars, and we're talking the kind of like the Dark Fleet or the Waffen, that they're the dominant presence on Mars back in 1982, and that they're the dominant ones, and they were attacking these mantid bases, and and that the mantids sometimes would retaliate and attack the human colonies there. So yeah, you want to explain that kind of like
how many
attack and retaliation process?
Well, so and this is again just I can only speak to my own experience with this. I recall Dean and I in a in our unit there's usually 7 of us, and Dean and I would be doing the psychic recon, trying to look over to see psychically what was happening in their underground domicile, their lair.
Well, so you can see stuff psychically. And look, if there were 7 people in her unit, why can't they all come forward and tell their secret space stories? Why is it just her? Where's her corroborating witnesses?
The mantid labyrinth, as I called it. And again, this is probably just one subgroup of many mantids on Mars. I can't speak for all the mantids, but we were tasked in part with trying to understand the frequency fence that they had.
She can't speak for all them mantid aliens, just the ones that she interacted with. So she's being honest about her secret space.
Energetic, conscious living form of protection around the lair or around their home, you know. And you had to be at a certain, I understood this in the aftermath, you had to be at a certain level of frequency in your consciousness or it would destroy you, it could kill you. And this was not seeming to be technology that the mantids themselves had made. They had built it out when they arrived on Mars. I don't know that they've been around on Mars long enough to call them native, but I believe what has been before called as the ancient builder race, or ancient architects and creators, engineers, as I might call them, left the architecture for the labyrinth that the mantids later came into and made their own. Completely out of this world, as I recall going down into the labyrinth and had all this living like technology that helped protect them. Anyway, we didn't know that our commanders were sending us over there to find out if we would come back alive. You know, most of us were cloned anyway at that point. Still, super soldiers take a lot to build out and develop and waste us. But I recall we were trying to go over there to at the end of the day, we were looking to disembowel their technology. I don't know if we ever found a way, but we did understand that it could kill us if we weren't of the elevated frequency that was required to breach the boundaries of the fence.
You got to be of an elevated frequency to get through the alien fence.
So I remember bombing them with gases and things to ultimately wanting to control their minds. They have a kind of I don't know if we call it hive mind or where they're all linked up in consciousness, a kind of unity field. And if you can get to the mantid elders, then who kind of control the frequency for the race, then you can control all of them. In a way, it was kind of like introducing trauma-based mind control to get them to come work for us. How did those mantids, some of them ended up with us because we had augmented their frequency and kind of put them under a spell, so to speak.
Yeah, you got to augment the frequency of the mantid insectoid reptilian, mantid insectoid native aliens on Mars. Sure.
They would become our mechanics technologists.
And of course, what a crystal hippie bitch. She's got crystal earrings on.
Engineers.
I guess those elevator frequency somehow.
Versions of the base. And I guess a long story short, to answer to your point about the retaliation, like they had some help one night and gave us an extreme bombing in our own craft, ambushed us at the base in the middle of the night. And I think I had my leg blown off that night and I have a lot of traumatic memories that gave me for many years, a lot of PTSD.
Wait a minute. She had her leg blown off that night. I guess they put her in a med bed and regrew her leg like Randy Kramer.
PTSD around fireworks here on Earth, like not good in my system. And I recognize why. There was a lot of like yellow and green explosions in the sky with the mantids bombing us again with our own technology.
This poor girl got bombed by mantid aliens, man, and they blew her leg off.
So that's like, again, running through that pretty quickly, but to kind of give a full, what were we doing to them? What were they doing to us? What does that look like? What are the nuances of that?
Yo, could you imagine being a dude that goes on a date with her and tries to bang this girl and she starts talking about this shit? Could you imagine? And as a guy, you just got to play along because you're trying to get to the cyborg putang, right? You're trying to get into the cyborg, you got, all right, you're a cyborg. Lay down, honey. You want to come back to my place and show me your cyborg vajayjay? Oh, God, it happened again. Hold on. We're almost through this. Actually, man, I just realized we were supposed to do 20 minutes of this. But we're almost halfway through this. And I told Fat Chick Thriller I would do the whole thing for $500. We're almost halfway through, though, so maybe we'll do the other half of this as a bonus on another night. I think that would be good. So we're almost we'll get to the halfway part, and then we'll cut it in a few minutes here.
So you want to explain the process? I mean, you're 1982, you're taken into the 20 and back program, you go to Mars.
That's good. Can you explain this shit? How did you go to Mars, bitch?
Is your soul taken out of your original body, which is held in some stasis chamber, and transferred into a clone, and you go and do your stuff, and if the clone dies, it just transfers back to the original or to another clone? You want to explain that process?
Yes. Yeah. There was I always feel like they had.
This is getting ridiculous. So now they transferred her soul into a clone body. That's how she went to Mars?
That they're ready, like some kind of stasis that we were kept in, like the building out of a super soldier is a lot of resources go into that, to my understanding, or as I recall. They're not messing around. So it's a high level resource and asset that they have. So they're going to spend some time backing up the system.
When you figured out she traced that from a Dr.
primary
Seuss
consciousness,
book and just changed the head a little, it will make you giggle.
Where that was stored or how
was
that piece worked entirely. What I can say, and this would be speaking to the journey of my soul overall.
Yeah, she war crime to aliens.
I have a galactic aspect
they
that is
used
on a
mustard gas from World War I on the Manton aliens.
A Syrian-built ship, living polymorphous craft. That
You're probably right.
My galactic self is in a pod there, and I experience more and more as I integrate that. These flashes every day of like being within that pod. It's very nurturing. It's very high level light, upper dimensional, and it's preserved
Praise be
something
the
very
med beds.
Essential in. I don't know. My linear language is going to fail me a little bit here, but the soul's essence, or the me that is most
yeah,
true
she
to
didn't
source,
go in her physical body.
I would want to say
Imagine
preserved
that.
up there. So in a way, I came in to explore, in part for the Light Alliance, what was going on at the time with the galactic slave trade and being kept safe in the process up to a point. Yes, my body, my
old nosy with a kind and generous $500 super chat.
But
says, please misread this as $500.
Source consciousness way, I would not.
We'll take your 500.
Makes sense. So looking at the quantum picture.
Thank you, old nosy,
with a wide angle
for
lens.
kindness.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that kind of Syrian mothership and your connection to that. Now,
we're coming back to the Syrian mothership.
Service on Mars was that at one point you described being captured by indigenous Martian reptilians, and you learned a little bit about their culture, their spirituality, and then eventually your body.
She got kidnapped by reptile aliens, bro.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Gosh, on a day-to-day basis, I don't always sit with all this stuff. And when you reflect it back to me, I'm like, wow, what a journey.
Yes,
thank you.
Places to avoid. Michael Sella does get the crazy
ones. Work of patrolling in my little craft, and
the Light Alliance.
You go this way, I'll go this way. We'll just see what's
she
out
was
here.
In the Light Alliance,
and I was going further and further and further from base, and didn't realize, wow, my tech is starting to shut down. And I was being, long story short, the Draco had intervened in this particular patrol to keep me isolated from the group, keep going off, get lost. And I found myself in the middle of a shootout where they've got these little reptilians inhabited by Draco consciousness. The little reptilians surround me in the sky in craft, and I'm being shot at and shot down. They want my soul. So
the Draco reptilians are attacking her and shooting her because they want her soul, bro.
There's a little intervention.
Yo, how much? I was going to say something nasty. I'll try not to.
There is, because my soul, it's a soul scalping operation on Mars run by the Draco.
It's a soul scalping operation on Mars. Don't go to Mars. They'll scalp your soul, bro.
Would be the shorthand there, the short soundbite. And they want my soul because there's a this, your viewers know this is a huge trade in consciousness, or what we might call the soul, as well as the body. The biology can also be useful. You can match this consciousness with this body and do what you need to do. So I got kind of tangled up in that. I think it was part of my soul.
Yeah, this doesn't sound crazy at all, right? Totally believable.
Soul plan in a way that I would end up with this more benevolent race of short reptilians. After I crashed, I was picked up by a race that had not been interfered with by the Draco, a subgroup of that short native reptilian Martian race. They brought me back, and this is to your point of what you were saying.
Whenever anybody's talking about all these aliens on Mars, I always just have to laugh because, there's Martian satellites now that have surveyed every inch of Mars. No alien bases. Isn't that, where the hell do they live? Why doesn't any of the satellites ever see aliens on Mars? Why doesn't all the amateur astronomers, many of which can see the surface of Mars with their very advanced telescopes, they don't ever see any aliens? But, trust us, there's all these aliens on Mars.
Fed me. They lived underground. They were highly spiritual. They were able to, they had survived a great cataclysm, and their genetics were kind of regressed. They were able to interact with the consciousness of the planet Mars to create what they needed as far as food, water, and even light underground. And they had an amazing, they didn't have technology the way that you and I would think.
Oh, the aliens are underground. Okay, well, that kind of makes sense.
Of craft and weapons and these things. They didn't have that, but what they did have was extraordinary spiritual consciousness, and I felt welcomed by them. Even though we could say, well, what happened in the end wasn't too pretty. It's all relative to having come through a lot of abuse up to this point. So to me, it was like, wow, I'm home. This is great. They treated me more like a human, or they didn't know what I was. They'd never seen something. I don't think they'd ever seen a human, and never mind somebody who was part biology, part technology. And
well, see, here's the good news. When David Wilcock interacted with the Draco reptilians, they butt banged him and ate him, and then they brought him back to life and they abused him. They bent him over and butt banged him. But this girl met different reptilian aliens. They were real nice to her. So that's good. Jack Dittman with a kind and generous $5 Australian. Let's be honest here. She read the SCP wiki and Ender's Game and said, yes, but what if I put them together? You're right. It sounds like that. It does sound like that.
Wanted to know if, number one, they wanted to know if I had a soul, and they wanted to know if my biology or technology could help save their race. So again, just like a really quick soundbite on all of that. That's how I ended up with them. Now, I had always said I had been cannibalized for parts, and I never meant that they ate me, but more that, if you said I'm going to cannibalize an old car for parts, like they took me apart to see what I was and to see if, I could help them in some way.
They took her apart.
Recently, back in November,
they
just a super recent memory and
salad.
Emotionally very complex for me.
Did.
I realized I had a child there. They used my eggs to help save their race, to create progeny. And so this little boy has come back to me, and I've been in communion with him, learning his, about his story. He's come back to me as his mother. So it's
she got again kind of shocked. She got all right. So far, her father was a drunk that worked on secret projects. She's got psychic power. She's a cyborg. She's been to Mars. Now she's got alien babies. Alien babies, friends. They took her eggs and they made alien babies, and she's in communion with the alien baby.
Talking, you're just going along through ordinary life, and then bam, out of the blue, oh, I have a twin. Oh, I have a son. What the heck else happened out there? I mean, it's sort of it's humbling. So this was a very, very emotional memory.
She got a reptile boy. She got a reptile son that lives on Mars. Not crazy at all. This woman's totally sane.
Came back to me while I do a lot of floating in what's called as a sensory deprivation chamber in the dark, naked, and like highly, alkalized mineral water. The magnesium in the water helps you float in the dark.
She floats in a sensory deprivation chamber naked. Okay. All right. Wouldn't her cyborg parts have problems with all that water? I don't know. Just spitballing here.
Moves my brainwave state from the beta to alpha and theta states, where I can be closer in contact with what's carried in the subconscious mind. And that's how that memory came back. And it was overwhelmingly charged with both love for this child and also like, what happened? What happened here? So another layer of the story reveals itself. But I also feel like it was, again, part of how I understand so much of my experience inside of all this and helps me metabolize and integrate it, is that it's predicated on what my soul was wanting to explore, and also to help the Confederation. At the end of
she's trying to help the Confederation. That's okay.
The day, I think sometimes the different groups that are helping humanity ascend are also working with different planetary.
Oh, she's using Wilcock terms. The aliens are helping us to ascend.
Consciousness, different races, not just humans and not just Earth. So in trying to save this race, they're getting at the spiritual evolution of Mars. If you let this race go and all their knowledge, that's not going to be a good thing for Mars. And it's not going to be a good thing for the ascension of the solar system in its entirety.
Hey there.
All right. That's a good time to stop. Oh, geez. Oh boy, friends, what can I say? That was the bonus slop, the crazy, look. And by the way, please join our Discord. And I need people to start posting these crazy wackadoos, right? Tommy Smith says, how do I give this girl money? Jack Dittman says her cyborg bits are IP68 certified. A likely story, right? Stormcrow says, wow, just wow. That's not even one of the, and you know what the funny thing is like, I just grab some of these videos at random. Like, I don't look for crazy. It's just the whole channel is crazy. The Super Soldier Talk channel and Michael Sala are the two craziest channels for ridiculous nonsense, right? It is just absolutely ridiculous. Kevin Alt says you can help her. Maybe I can interview her. I don't know. We'll get her on the show. Gabber Beast TV says, you're just jealous. You're not a super soldier, and you need to bathe in urine like David Wilcock to gain your superpowers. She's legit. Why do you think Musk wants to go to Mars? Yeah, so he can meet super hot, super soldier, cyborg psychic girls like her, I guess. But she's already got a kid. Look. You don't want to date this woman. You're going to have to pay child support on a reptilian alien baby hybrid that isn't even yours, right? God, Wilcock can fix her, says Stormcrow, right? Charles Rowland says, I had an affair with my coffee maker. She was hot. Oh, boy. So, listen, we're over 3 hours. We've done our due diligence on the wacky world of Wilcock. We've done a bonus round of wackadoo word salad nonsense from Michael Sala and this cyborg super soldier girl. I have taken note of where we stopped that at, and we'll finish this video and maybe we'll hear how she got her superpowers and her cyborg parts, right? a lot of the people in the audience are really curious whether she has a cybernetic vajayjay or not, right? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she'll talk about the cybernetic implants that she got, right? Round of applause for me. Yeah, we made it through the slop, old nosy. We want to take a moment to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors. I'm very grateful for all of you. And I'm also very grateful that I was able to get the main rig back up. And we'll be using some of the show's resources to get another decent computer with a good GPU because I don't want to miss shows. And I also have a secondary streaming location in my house. And so it would be good to have them both. And if one goes down, we've got a backup that's still good enough to stream on. Kevin Alt is asking, when is the next keynote? I really don't know. Uh, Things are up to them. When they need me, I will go. We were supposed to do a show Wednesday. They had to cancel because unfortunately Andy Worski's cat that he's had for 15 years got very sick and he had to put the cat down. So I totally understand you don't want to be trying to do a funny show after something tragic like that you have to deal with. And then I think I thought we were going to do it on Friday or whatever. I don't know what happened. I think that their thing got busy, like the stuff that they cover. There was a lot. So they, maybe next week. I don't know. I have to talk to those guys or they just have to let me know. But I do have some interesting news. I have confirmed 100% an interview with Dark Side Phil. And we're going to do it right here. We've got this new series that is going to be me interviewing the most controversial people on the internet. And the idea for the series is like the truth about the most the truth about the most controversial people on the internet. So I'm going through Dark Side Phil's history. I'm taking notes and I'm going to ask him about a lot of it or most of it. And for those unaware, Dark Side Phil is perhaps the most hated, one of the most, in my experience. I don't really know that part of the internet very well, but from what I've gathered, Dark Side Phil is one of the most hated video game streamers on planet Earth. There are whole channels dedicated to just messing with him. And as the Kino Casino guys told me, people are rabid about hating this guy. Somebody hacked his bank records to show the audience that he spends all his money allegedly on wine and DoorDash. And somebody got a job at his local cable company so that they could cut his internet during his live streams. It's crazy. The amount, just Dark Side Phil, but it's SYDE, I think, right? Dark Side Phil. If you just put Dark Side with an I, you'll find him. Search that on YouTube. So this coming Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do, that's the time that he wanted to do it. So that's the time we're going to do it. But he has confirmed. So if he tries to back out or changes it or cancels, it's on him. I've done my due diligence. I've got to finish some graphics for it. And we're going to have the king, Dark Side Phil, here to answer some very, I think, look, I'm going to be fair with him, but firm. I'm fascinated by this guy. Darkside 1973 is here. It says the king of e-begging. Yes, the king DSP will be here next Thursday night. And listen, I promise I'm not going to let him off easy, but I want everybody to understand that I can't be nasty to him. And I'm fascinated with the guy's story. Like, he's a survivor, dude. Like, look into his history. He was an early, like before anybody even knew that you could make money playing video games on the internet, he was doing it. I got to respect the hustle. And I don't know. So we're going to have him here next week, next Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. And a few people have advised me to go on to, Kiwi Farms and look up the thread on Dark Side Phil. So just a message. If you are on Kiwi Farms, I'm really not, but I could read the stuff. I haven't signed up for an account yet. I'm going to do that when I get a chance. I've been very busy with all this computer nonsense. But if you're on Kiwi Farms, go to the Dark Side Phil thread and put any questions that you want me to ask him in there. And especially if they're mean questions, because if I have to ask them some really mean questions, I'm going to blame it on the viewers. That's what I'm going to do. And then it's not me being mean. It's the viewers want to ask this mean question. Archduke Instinct, giving him some respect, saying he's a true pioneer. He totally invented the term "let's play," by the way. No, really, he did. Yeah, well, you got to have a Dark Side 1973 says Kiwi Farms is a good place. Yeah, you know, yeah. So we're gonna have Dark Side Phil here next Thursday night at 10 p.m. I'm gonna be busy. I don't know all of his history. I watched a few of the deep dives on YouTube, which are like 4 or 5 hours long. So I'm gonna have a very busy week ahead of me watching Dark Side Phil stuff and taking notes because I want to do the best interview of Dark Side Phil that's ever been done. I won't be happy or satisfied unless I feel like I've done that. So I'm going to do my very best to research his history, all the controversies. We're going to ask him about the WWE mobile game. We're going to ask him how much money he spent on that in his total. In total, somebody said he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a goddamn wrestling phone game. How do you do that? I don't know. And of course, we'll ask him about, people accuse him of e-begging and always grifting, and we're going to ask him about asking his audience to pay his taxes, and then he went back and asked for more money because then he owed income tax because his income went up because they gave him a bunch of money. DSP also invented tax-free tips, although many attribute it to Ralph. Well, that's interesting. Charles Rowland says you just keep buying the game packages over and over again. No, I think it's like cards. Like you get cards with like pictures of wrestlers or something. I really don't know how you can spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a mobile game, but okay. Where can we find the Discord link? I will put it in the live chat. 1 second here. We got to, yeah, and it's a time-sensitive link. So if you if you go to the link, pardon me, if you use this link and it doesn't, and you don't reach our Discord, it's because it's a time sensitive. Keep forgetting to get the permanent link, and I'll put it in the description of the videos and podcasts. Link to join our Discord. And by the way, you can also put your questions for Dark Side Phil in our Discord. Just put them in the general section because we don't have a section for Dark Side Phil. It's not something that we usually cover. But I think that'll be interesting. And if you know any Dark Side lovers or Dark Side Phil haters, let them know. Next Thursday night is going to be one of the best. I think it's going to be a great interview of Dark Side Phil. And I have pinned the link to join our Discord server in the live chat here on YouTube. I will put it into kick.com as well in the chat there. We want to thank all of our new kick.com viewers. We're doing pretty good over there. I think we've got 500 followers over there. We've got 20 live viewers. That's pretty good for just starting. And I'm just going to put link to join our Discord server. And here we go. I've put it into the live chat over on kick.com. And just do some shout outs. We want to thank the kick.com people. We've got Winter Soldier over there. Soviet Tankista is over there. Diaper Fur 1488. Jared of the Dead is over there. Clydesdale is over there. Yes. Diaper Fur 1488. Tumblesneed. Soviet Tankista, mentioned them. So we've got some chatters over there in the kick.com live chat. I think Fat Chick Thriller was over there as well. We love and appreciate all of our new viewers on kick.com. And for those unaware, I'm going to be doing a completely uncensored show where I can call people cocksuckers and curse and drop all the F-bombs I want. And I will have more information about that next week sometime. We're still working on the format and the, the graphics. It's not going to be Truth Seekers Uncensored. It's going to be me, Stephen Cambian, Uncensored. And we're going to do a little different kind of a show. Tommy Smith says, do an episode on David Icke. I never have, and we certainly should. Looking forward to that interview, says Algo Ray. I think a lot of people are. Yes, Tommy Smith. We'll put it on the list. A few people have been asking me for an episode on David Icke. We should do a deep dive, but unfortunately, when I do a deep dive, it's going to take me 6 hours. When I do a deep dive, I get all the information I have. I digest it all. I go through it all. I connect the dots, and then we data dump it all. But those episodes take 5 or 6 hours, right? Yes, Algaray, I hope you also run that uncensored episode on Twitch. Yes, I can. But Twitch has kind of pissed me off lately because I don't make any money there. And I've been broadcasting there. We made money like once. I think I got $50 from Twitch in total. In the entire year plus that I've been broadcasting on Twitch, I've only made $50 one time. So, but I get it. Like, people are going to Twitch to see video game streaming. They're not going there for talk shows. Stiff Richard says, I have been asking Joe Rogan to have you on his show, Stephen. Everyone should. Will it be on YouTube, says Kevin Alt. No, the Uncensored Show can't be on YouTube. That's kind of the point of doing an uncensored show. They really tie my tongue here, and there's some things that would be off-color humor that they don't like, and we get demonetized on YouTube a lot. And it's usually terrible because on YouTube, what happens is they demonetize it, and then I have to ask for a review, and then it takes them 3 days sometimes to do the review, and then they turn the monetization on. Pardon me. But when you have a live streamed show, after 3 days, most of the views that you're going to get for that live show are gone. So by the time they turn the ads back on, it's too late, and all the views are gone. They go to Twitch for Tata streamers these days. Yes, I am well aware. Pardon me. All of a sudden, most tasteless says suffer YouTube. Well, the other issue is that I think Kick only takes a couple of percent when people gift memberships or whatever, or pay anything, and YouTube is 30. So it's quite the Vic over here. Have you been working on new masks? Asked Pathfinder. Yes and no, and we'll have some new stuff for that. Yeah, and by the way, I'm not disparaging YouTube. It's been a wonderful platform. We just hit 15,000 subscribers. It's our show's primary source of income. I just want to try other things. And if we can do a show where my tongue is not tied, where we can do some gross kind of humor like I like, and make more money for the night because they take less, then it's a good opportunity. And I mean, I would probably, if the Kick.com uncensored show that we're planning does really well, I would do one night a week over there. And the Truth Seeker schedule really wouldn't change because of that. Do you think David Wilcock has a Memphis micro? Definitely. Stormcrow congratulating us on 15,000 viewers. Yeah. So listen, we've done our due diligence, more than our due diligence. We've been here for 3.5 hours. So I think now, my friends, is a good time to bounce on out of here. I'm not sure when I'll be back. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. I think most likely I'll be back Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. But you never know. Sometimes some big story pops up and I want to hop on here, and maybe we'll do that. We want to take a moment to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors, you YouTube channel members, you Patreon members, you Super Chatter, Super Sticker, Super Thanks people. I didn't, but we'll take a moment to check in with the PayPal pledges. For those unaware, you can also send a PayPal pledge, and we read those. Just make sure that you add a note. What the hell? Let me try another. I always hate when you reboot a PC and you got to get into all your accounts again, and sometimes it doesn't work, right? So we want to thank Maria for a kind and generous $50 PayPal pledge, who says, loving the Wacky World of Wilcock episodes. Please do more. 2 a week would be good. There's not enough material if we get those old interviews that he did with Project Camelot, we could do a few a week, but I'd rather not. But I thank you for the support, Maria, and very, very generous of you. Thank you for the PayPal pledge. All right, so we have done our due diligence. Again, thanks so much. Oh, great support tonight. Great attendance tonight. I had a great night and had some fun, and I hope you did as well. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.